Welcome, friends. Let us together rebuild this world so that we may live, laugh, and lore.
I was going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
I can bring you in warm, or I can bring you in cold.
Not listening. I'm not listening.
Oh, that took.
Program loaded and ready.
Make it so.
Welcome to the Live, Laugh, Lore podcast. We're your host. I'm Tony.
And I'm Mark. And Tony, I think we're on to our, third guest episode?
Third guest ever. 15.
Number 15. So we're back into the Star Wars realm, and we have brought in one of the best Star Wars guru I know, one of my good friends, Sean. Sean, you want to tell the listeners a little bit about yourself and your Star Wars knowledge?
Yeah, sure. So, as Mark said, a longtime friend. We've known each other for, 8 years now, probably. Met in college.
Yep.
Mark and Tony are very close. Got to know Tony very well over the years. And I think Mark and I are both, and Tony, of course, just huge Star Wars nerds going back to when we were kids watching the prequel trilogies, seeing them in theaters probably.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
And then when Mark and I were roommates, and we would marathon them every year.
Yep.
Every year.
Yeah, I actually visited them once. And while we were visiting, I think we, had a night out in the town. It was great. And we woke up the next morning. I woke up to just nostalgic sounds. I was like, what's going on here? It was just the harmonious, angelic noise of Galactic Conquest. I was like,
absolutely.
Yes.
Are you kidding me right now?
Absolutely.
Like, I already like Sean, but I was like, dude, do you guys have one more bed? I'll room with you guys. I'll drop out from OSU. This would be great. Oh, it was so cool seeing the Galactic Conquest. And you guys were like Xbox 360 on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
So good.
Yeah, in college, yeah.
Oh, what a classic. Oh, it was awesome. But yeah.
Well, so it's really good. Before I met Sean, I had only seen the movies. So Sean's the one who got me into all the TV shows like Clone Wars, Rebels.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so
Little Mark
I had not seen any of the animated shows up until meeting Sean, so...
Yeah, the common misconception is they're kids shows. They're really great. If you haven't watched them, you got to go watch them. There's so much great quality there.
Yeah.
The Lord and Saviors of the Star Wars world, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau.
Yeah, without a doubt. Also, other than TV shows and stuff, books. Are you guys kind of books or kind of Wikipedia aficionados?
I'm getting into books.
Nice.
A lot of Wikipedia. Bible right there until they start changing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last edited. Some of these are edited 18 times. I was like, what is going on?
So I thought I knew a lot of Wikipedia, but like you said, it's been edited a lot that I may not know as much of Wikipedia as I thought I did, or I once did,
Yeah, 2010 was just such a the glory days,
yes.
right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure Bruce Springsteen, that's what he was talking about, Wikipedia in 2010. Like, that was the glory days.
He could see into the future. I mean, he is the boss, right?
Yeah, I mean, hey, the Michael Scott. So, but yeah, no, I was just curious about the book knowledge too. But now that we kind of have, the three titans in the room, I think it's a time that we reveal what makes this episode so special other than having Sean here.
Yeah.
Do you want to take it away, Mark?
Sure. We are doing something that Tony and I have talked about doing for a long time, even before the podcast, something that we've wanted to do.
I think we've done this talk about 17 times, but never recorded it.
Yes, exactly.
And also, clear minds prevail. I think that's another
True. It's good to have a third voice in the room. But we are taking the monstrous task of rebuilding the sequel trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
We touched on a lot in our Pet Peeves episode that Tony and I were not the biggest fans of how J.J. Abrams
and
Ryan Johnson took
and
the
J.J. Abrams again.
Yeah, correct.
He did what he could, okay?
Yeah.
I wonder who because there was originally
There's a third person who's supposed to
do 9, and then they were like, nope, bring it back to J.J. Abrams.
We're getting a lot of notes that were not cohesive.
Yeah.
I wonder what we should do here. Let's just bring back the first guy, right?
So we weren't too happy with how they did it. So
yeah, and this is also specifically revamping, right? This is not us basically saying, okay, we need to make 7, 8, 9. What do we do? And throw out all the characters. Like we put stipulations on ourselves because I also think that we don't want to be those people who just say, oh, this is complete garbage and we throw it away. It's like, no, there's like a relatively solid framework, or at least these characters that are kind of projecting in a way that I really think they weren't really given their chance. And I think this is our time to kind of come back and give the chance. Also, just for legality reasons, if this gets picked up, we'll split it 3 ways,
Yes,
right?
yes.
You know, just because we're on the masthead, Sean, doesn't mean we're kicking you out, right? We're not going to Zuckerberg you.
I'll take my 5%. You know,
No, so if they pick it up, we do it.
Yeah. So I'm very excited because obviously our listeners know that we're big Star Wars fans, Tony.
Huge.
I mean, we grew up watching it, but, you know, we didn't really watch it with our dads, right? Our dads, this is not their thing. Sean was lucky enough, his dad and stepdad both remember seeing the original Star Wars in theaters. So
yeah.
Sean's had it,
Oh, yeah.
you know, from birth. You know,
Cradle Catholic, but Cradle Star Wars. Yeah.
I had I've had them on VHS. I've had the bonus box set on DVD. Still have them all.
Dude, the sacred texts were like they weren't digitally remastered.
Oh, right,
Like
yeah.
you saw that pale blue of Luke Skywalker's lightsaber before,
yeah.
you know, she went sky blue, but yeah.
I mean, he knew, you know, when Jabba was a fat Irishman before a slug.
You know, didn't even make the screen cut. But
Yeah.
that's all the back stuff they did to film it. And seeing Darth Vader's actual actor voice before they dubbed James Earl Jones on the top of it. You know?
That's wild. That's awesome.
It's a tall, high-pitched Scottish man.
Yeah, I was
if you're
about to say,
curious.
wasn't it? Yeah. They're just like, we'll choose you. And I think he was like told he was like, this is his role. And then all of a sudden, I think later on it was like,
Yeah.
we're going to bring someone more menacing. James Earl Jones.
And so what he started doing was once he learned that they were going to bring in someone else to dub over him, he just started riffing on set to start making people laugh. Like he would make Carrie Fisher break character all the time.
I love
just
that.
making her laugh.
Yeah, because you don't see his lips.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
exactly.
No one can hear it.
I remember it was like, we were in college, but when that actor died,
Oh,
like he would still go to Comic Cons because like the old fans knew who he was. But anyway, Mark Hamill made like a post about him on Twitter, him dying, and he's just like, you know, the original Darth Vader has passed away, and like the younger like generation was like, who's this? Who?
James Earl Jones is alive.
Yeah,
he was
we're
just in
like-
New York at
yeah,
his
yeah.
play. Yeah. He's
so,
literally
like,
at his theater.
So
Yeah.
the whole younger generation of Star Wars got to learn who this guy was, you know, at
wow.
that. So it was kind of
No, that's awesome. Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't know it goes all the way back. Yeah, we were not. This was a self-made journey, I guess.
yeah,
You know.
yeah.
So.
It's a good journey to have though.
Oh,
It's a great
1,000%.
journey.
Oh, we're gonna propagate this through. I mean, I don't force anything on kids, but at the same time too, it's just
Yeah.
it'll be in the background.
Oh,
They'll,
yeah.
they'll pick it up. you
Yes.
know.
Oh, yeah.
So let's just get right into it. To set the scene, the three of us got together and we decided we were probably going to keep her out the same timeline.
That was a
At the same
discussion,
time.
though. Figuring out that was a discussion.
It was a
figuring
discussion.
out where because we want to keep the main characters, but can we lead any time? But I think we're keeping the same time.
Keeping the same. We didn't want to. We could have, right? But that would have taken a lot more time,
Yeah,
right? So
more
make it
rigmarole.
easy on yourself. Keep the four main characters: Rey, Finn, Poe, and Kylo, and then about the same timeline. But everything else, kind of fair game.
Subject to change.
Yes.
And I would like to interject. This is a lot of our own personal input to here. It's keeping some canon, keeping some legends, and us just kind of going off the wall with it. I think we're going to have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, no, great point because really important. Unlike Disney, sorry Disney, but unlike Disney, everything's canon. We are not throwing anything away. We're respecting everything.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like we're literally going to be pulling from canon, and also unlike Disney, we're going to cite our sources and we're going to say where it came from.
Yeah.
They're not going to go, oh, Exegol, what a really cool planet. It's like, dude, you're not going to Leia's a Jedi. You're not going to mention canon. Well, sorry, I digress. But everything's canon. Everything's canon.
Yeah. So with that, Sean, you want to kick us off? See how we're starting episode 7.
Starting episode 7. So,
Text roll.
oh, man, I wish I would have written
Yeah, a whole
the
text
3
roll.
paragraphs
We
of what this
should've.
could have been. Oh. So everyone knows what happens in the end of 6. Luke and Vader together essentially defeat the Emperor.
Yep.
Falls down the shaft. Vader passes away. They have a big party with the Ewoks on Endor. It's a great
what a-
time.
Yeah,
Great
what
time.
a music from John Williams. It's like they're literally playing on the decapitated heads of
Oh, yeah.
those scout troopers,
Yep.
and
And
they're
in,
like,
in the original, we only see like Endor and maybe one other planet, right? But then in the
Yeah.
like the newest recut, we see Naboo and like all the other planets that we
Oh,
see.
they
You know what I
fire,
mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
They did
Oh,
fireworks.
the party across the galaxy.
Yeah.
Yep.
That the-
Yep.
not an Alderaan though.
Rip. Too soon, Tony. Way too soon.
Sorry.
So we're opening in episode 7 in a little different way. We're not looking at Rey as this lonely girl on this desert planet. Hey, hint to episode 4 there.
Jakku, yeah. Or Jakku Tatooine. Sorry,
Yeah, yeah.
I mispronounced Tatooine.
Yes. We're looking at Luke has already established himself as the Jedi Master of his generation. It is an older Luke. He has built his temple, and we still get to see that. It hasn't already faltered.
Like and that was in like the second episode in a flashback. So
Yes.
you're saying right off the bat, we're going to see Luke
Right off the bat,
Prime. Cool.
Luke Prime, we see how he has trained and built up his school.
Yep.
How many students that has can be up for debate. And one of his prime students, still his nephew, Ben Solo. If we want to reach out into the legends, we can bring in the other children of the Solo and Skywalker families. You have...
I was about to say, like Mara Jane, right?
Mara Jane was Luke's wife.
Oh, Luke's wife. Yeah, sorry.
Mara Jade.
Yep.
Who they had a Ben Skywalker, aptly named after Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Love it.
So it was Ben Skywalker instead of Ben Solo.
Oh, I didn't realize they changed that.
They changed
okay,
that.
cool. Okay.
Then Han and Leia had Jaina, Jason, and Anakin after the
Anakin
grandfather.
part two, yeah.
So I feel like in the current sequels, they kind of merged Anakin and Ben to create Ben Solo, who pulls into his father or grandfather. So if we want to bring them in, they can all be at the school. They all trained to be Jedi, and they all excelled very well.
Yeah, I think so. And then Leia also was trained as Jedi as well, so it makes sense why the whole family would... This is a family affair, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
I also think they bring in Force sensitives, though. I think we keep that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We don't want like a dynasty on our hands where it's
No.
just only the
No.
Skywalkers. Yeah.
No, that's why I said, we can play with who's there.
Yeah, cool.
It's definitely a school of students. Luke went and found other Force sensitives.
Yep.
We know at this time there are two, there are other Force sensitive we see already in the universe that we could pull in. You see Ahsoka, she could help teach. You see Ezra, we lost Caden, but,
Yeah,
there are other people that we could easily bring into this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's a great point on Ezra as well, because we can keep going, but how we're tying in the philosophy of this school, I think that will bring in Ahsoka at a minimum.
Yeah.
Because Ahsoka very much, canonically, is a great Jedi.
Yeah, correct.
And I think, getting to the point, Shauna, you're probably going to this right. Sorry if I'm stepping on your toes, but the whole point is like the philosophy of this school, I think they're realizing that you kind of can't hide the light under the bushel basket. You kind of need to open up the doors a little bit. I think they need to kind of teach the Force at a holistic sense.
Yes, of course.
So it's not just, hey, I'm going to filter all this stuff, and you guys are going to only get this half of it.
Right.
I think they are probably going to be leaning much more toward the lighter side of the Force, but regardless, I still think they're going to be teaching both sides of the Force, being like, okay, here's this philosophy, we're going to kind of put it on you, kind of how to formulate it, and I think that's where, Ahsoka Tano really fits in well, because she's kind of the same thing. I don't really believe where the Jedi have been going. Well, now they're eliminated, but, still...
Well, so is the Sith, right? And this is, I think Luke has come to the understanding that this is really the only true balance, right? As you embrace both sides. Mm-hmm. Kind of like Mace Windu, we knew he was a great Jedi.
Yep.
As well as Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yeah.
But Luke and Luke and Ahsoka knew, at least Mace Windu. I don't know if Qui-Gon was probably...
I don't think she would have ever known Qui-Gon other than through Obi-Wan.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, probably just through teachings. So actually, now that I'm thinking about it, during the Clone Wars, she also doesn't see Qui-Gon, but only Obi-Wan sees Qui-Gon. Sorry, I knew they showed up in a cave, and there's literally a scene, you know what I'm talking about, when they go to the brother, the sister, and father?
Yes.
When they're in the cave, Obi-Wan Kenobi sees Qui-Gon, and he even asks Ahsoka, like, dude, did you see Qui-Gon, like my old master? She's like, no.
Yeah.
So for a second I was like, oh, that's a chance they could have seen each other, but that's more of the living Force
right.
goes. Yeah,
so it's she's only seen Mace Windu.
Correct. Yeah, only experience like in But yeah, no, I think that philosophy is going to be really important, and I think that's kind of the cornerstone, I believe, of like the three movies. I feel like there's so much to explore with the understanding of the Force and how it's portrayed in teaching, that I feel like this is where we kind of get the gears rolling, because this is kind of a very unorthodox, unique way. We're saying, no, we got to teach both versions of the Force. How do you go to do that? This is kind of beat one of the story. We're showing this. What do we do? I still think we should continue on with this, but do you guys want to talk about the politics really quick, or just keep going with this really quick?
We can talk about the politics a little bit, right? I mean,
meaning the old. And
it's the New Republic.
The
right?
rebellion has now won.
Yeah.
What do we do? I feel like that is kind of beat two of the story in parallel, where we go, what the heck happens? Because we all know the rebellion won.
Yeah.
They're just a bunch of disjoint groups with their own ideologies.
Yeah.
Because now we're talking about an ideology war, too, internally, both on the faith-based side, which is the Force, and more the political side, which is this New Republic. What do you do?
Well, I see it very much kind of like it's post-revolution in the United States. General George Washington became the first president. General Leia Organa becomes the first leader of the New Republic. I think that's just a natural stepping stone for her.
Yeah. Because Bail Organa is still very influential. I mean, he was one of the big... Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think
But I
he's
don't
gonna
think he would want it. I think he would support Leia.
endorse the daughter. Yeah. Because he recognized this to go to the next generation.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
think that's for sure.
For sure.
I could almost see Leia actually opting out of the role.
That could be. Wait, wouldn't Bale be dead by this point? It's 30 years later. If not, he's pretty old.
He's old.
They never really canonically say, let's look at Wikipedia.
And wait, isn't he? I thought, did he not die in Alderaan?
You would think.
You would think him and his wife died.
It's assumed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you're right. That is, you never see him.
Post. Yeah.
It's assumed.
Yeah.
Dang, dude, I never thought about that. He was out going.
Yeah.
He was going out getting blue milk.
Yes.
He's
right?
in a different
Off
star
planet.
system.
Yeah, way off planet. All right, so let's chase that chord. Sean, do you think there is someone else, like a character we know, that Leia would endorse?
Mon Mothma?
Mon Mothma could
Oh my
be.
gosh,
could
still
be.
alive?
Could be another. Yeah, that
Yeah,
could be
yeah.
another potential candidate. I agree.
I
She
think
was
there
in
were.
second command.
Mon
She
Mothma.
was?
Yeah, she was second command. So it's a natural predecessor.
Yeah, I think there are a few leaders in the rebellion that we did see that Leia would have passed the torch to.
It's a trap.
It's a trap. Admiral Akbar. So, but on top of just who's going to get it, how do we feel? What's the gain at around this guitar, baby? Like, do we crank it to 10? Meaning, like, how much discord do we bring in? Because do we show the ideas? Because there's probably a lot of people who are going to be like, hey, let's just replicate the Republic as we know it. I mean, this is a lot of their lifetime was still in the Republic.
I see it three factions forming. People
Okay.
that are still loyal to the Empire, people that want to go back,
Loyalist.
want to go back to the old ways, and then a third group that says both of these didn't work, so we need to figure out a new form of government. And then that's where the discord is. It's the argument between those three factions,
Yeah.
between the systems.
Yeah, and settling and all that stuff out's got to be tough. But
Yeah.
I think maybe show some discord in the three.
But I think that like you said, the politics between those three factions goes right in with this because there needs to be something else cooking in the background, right?
Yeah.
It can't just be everything's fine and dandy on the politics level and, the Jedi and the big bad.
Absolutely. That's why I kind of want to start. I wanted to kind of introduce to the listeners that I think we're thinking about this in two ways. There's the Force way about it, and then there's the overall world, what's going on globally. So I think that's going to be very important. So as we keep saying beats of this, I think we can just cock back
Well,
forward.
I think they both influence each other, I think.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
1,000%. Yeah, and I also believe, too, this is where we kind of get our first, really big breaking point, and I don't know if this is going to be at the first movie, maybe the second movie, or maybe, we can decide where we put them in the movie chronological order, how we're going to separate that out. But I think the really big thing is I think there's going to be a group that naturally comes out ahead. I think that group might try to stifle other groups. Mm-hmm. And I think also during that stifling, there's going to be some political ramifications, kind of like, World War One. We were pretty hard on, basically everybody who lost. And we're like, hey, you can't have your lands, whatever. And it just bred Hitler, right? You know what I mean? It's like, I don't want to say, that sounds awful. I'm not saying we breed a space Hitler, but I'm just saying is my point being is I think there's going to be some political strife that is going to naturally bleed into one of these factions attempting to either coup or more drastic measures.
With three factions, now there's three leaders, too, so.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then there's also people who sympathize with just the harmony of them all, meaning they all have their merits, therefore they all need to exist. There's probably some people who would be like absolutists who are going, no, only one can rule.
Yeah.
Whoever that may be, let's figure it out.
Yeah.
And I think introducing each of those and the political strife. I also think that for our podcast listeners, we don't have to hit that one beat for beat. I think that might be a little bit more of a boring story, or we have to think about it a little bit more, but...
There are so many rabbit holes we can take with all of this.
I know. Every single time I say something, I'm like, I feel the whole room just take a breath, and we're all going, where do we go?
Just let us cook, Tony. Let us cook.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
There is one group I think you missed.
Yeah,
and that's the outskirts people that just don't care.
Oh, that's
Oh,
true.
yeah,
We've seen the
Outer
Rams.
all the way
You're right.
through. The Tatooines, the Jakkus, they don't care. It doesn't affect them.
Let's just harvest
It's
our
all
moisture.
it's all these central systems.
Yeah.
The people that live out beyond, they have their own problems. They don't get the rules and jurisdictions that happen in the central systems. They have to figure it out for their own. That's why you still have a lot of these empire factions that still build up there because they can still
the
have
Hutts.
the power there.
Yeah, the crime syndicates
exactly.
are rampant.
Crimson
that
Dawn,
was,
yeah.
That was all the outer rim.
What's the other one that does like the
Crimson Dawn and
like the spices, like salt?
Oh, yes.
Black Sun.
Yes.
Black Sun. Yep.
We talked a little bit the politics here.
Yep.
I definitely think we're going to be coming back and forth to this all night.
1000%.
I think another thing we got to switch back to a little bit, if we're looking at Luke and his Jedi, we need to talk about their mission now.
Oh, 1000%.
He's a reborn Jedi. He's a reborn system. What are they doing? What are their job? There's no baddies out there that they know of other than keeping peace in the universe. The essential job.
Yeah. I mean, there's some probably low level syndicate. You know what I mean? There's always some force sensitive person trying to get ahead, but no big ones, right? Yeah.
So, what's a really famous phrase right now? Knowledge is power.
1000%. And there's nothing but a clean slate in front of them.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's just wild. Yeah.
And there's a lot of knowledge that's been missing for the last 20 years, 30 years since the fall of the Republic.
Plus, yeah.
So,
And even before that, because the Jedi Council was holding back information, even though they were knowledge keepers, but only some of them actually knew that knowledge. It wasn't like archives you can go in. There's literally Jedi archives that the public could reach. So.
Yeah, correct.
So we did see in the sequels, Luke has his Jedi textbooks there that, Yoda catches on fire.
Yeah.
Page turners, they are not.
Exactly. So we know Luke has things like that, but if you watch the animated series, you know about holocrons.
Ooh, baby.
Mm-hmm.
So
I love where you're going. I love where you're going.
And you see it in in Rise of Skywalker, doesn't?
Oh yeah.
Oh no, those are Sith artifacts.
Artifacts are different. Correct, they're different.
Well, technically, all holocrons are Sith artifacts, but not all Sith artifacts are holocrons.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
I definitely thought it was a holocron.
I thought so too. I had to look it up.
Oh, okay.
I was on this whole thing because
Yeah.
I was getting I was like, oh, at least they. Okay, this is bad of me. I was like, oh, at least they added holocrons to it, and I looked it up. They're like, no, they're wayfinders.
That's what they're
it's
called.
not.
Wayfinders.
It's
It
not
takes them to
storing.
Exegol. Yeah.
It's not storing anything. It's like a really fancy way to propagate nav points for their hyperdrive. So, which I was like, well, how is this an ancient? Whatever. I'm not.
Let's not get
That was in the pet peeves.
Yeah, you're right. We're better than this. Yeah, we're in a writer's room right now. It's not about what happened. It's about going forward. This is a writer's room. Yes. So it'd be also a little disjoint like a writer's room, but I'm really enjoying it. I love creative thoughts like this. Ooh.
So I definitely think it's going to be, if not his primary mission, his top tier sub primary mission of we're going to go find this knowledge base from the good and the bad.
Yeah.
We're going to find the Jedi and the Sith holocrons, whatever we can find, because that's going to provide us better, wholesome teaching.
I love it. Yeah, I really like that. I think the other thing too is we're gonna get really interesting points because when Anakin went through with the 501st to ransack the Jedi Temple, like they specifically were doing it in a way where one, they're eliminating the Jedi, but two, they were doing a really decent job of also taking up that information, right? It was kind of like, hey, this is ours. No one else can have it. And also Palpatine, this was more of a Bane thing. He was gathering a lot of information. Plagueis, he was gathering a lot of information.
Right.
Palpatine, I don't think he was more of an execution man. He wasn't a research man. So I'm
Well,
really
it's-
curious to see what happens because I think that's the next thing. Like, does he just have a trove of knowledge that they're like trying to go find? Or is he more or less like, I wiped everything out. Now we're in this weird like needle in a haystack. Where do we find these holocrons, right?
Yeah.
Or is it a mix of both? What do you guys kind of want to go down? Like, do we want like remnants of Palpatine basically destroying everything, or do we want him to kind of ransack stuff and hoard it?
I think it's going to be a little mix of both. You're
like
definitely
both.
going to have things that the Jedi had mass stored or Jedi had kept. Palpatine took over the Jedi Temple on Coruscant.
Yeah.
So he probably just kept all that, added to it. There are known, when one side wins a war, you get all the spoils.
Exactly.
So you had the Empire win the war. They got all the spoils of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
The Rebels won the war. They get all the spoils that the Empire had.
Yeah.
So now you have that. I think you have a really good starting base, and that's where Luke's like, hey, I have 40%. Let's get to 100. Where do I have to travel to? Where do I have to explore? What
Yeah.
temples are either untouched or under lock and key for safekeeping from both sides?
Yeah, because I think on the Wikipedia page for Palpatine, at least a few years ago,
Caveated, yeah.
it said that during like episodes 4 and 5, when we don't see him physically, he was out going to the oldest ancient Sith temples, collecting. I don't know if researching is the right word or like meditating out there, but you would think he would have found stuff there.
Correct, yeah.
And whether or not Luke has the special knife that shows exactly on the throne room or whatever.
Yeah.
But, theoretically, Luke would have found, if he had anything.
Correct.
Palpatine.
I think you need a MacGuffin. And unlike the Wayfinders, you need the MacGuffin to be believable. And I think that's exactly that, where there is going to be gaps of knowledge. Mm-hmm. And there's going to be little breadcrumbs that each of these holocrons, whether they're fruitful or not, I think that's what the most fun part of it is that there's going to be these leads on these planets, and they're going to show both sides of the Force. Like, Dagobah was inherently like a dark side of the Force. That's why Yoda went there to kind of basically, it was like one big mass for him. I think there's going to be planets like Dagobah. I think there's going to be planets like Exegol. I think there's going to be a lot of, those are Sith planets, but I also think there's going to be light planets. I mean, there's going to be these focal points of the Force where they're going to go to. I think this is where we really hit our stride on expanding the universe and kind of giving homage to those who have written books about these places, because we're going to go, hey, we went there, and it's now canon, real canon, it's on the movie screen. So I feel like we can do that as well. I also feel like, too, I think we're going to rotate people doing both dark and then light, right? I feel like we don't want one there's almost like a weird load-bearing system where they're like, all right, Ben, you've done 3 dark sides in a row, get your new stamp, and we're going to do 10, for every 10 light sides, you do 1 dark side. I feel like there's going to be a weird kind of cool threshold that they do.
Yep. If it's, I'm glad you got to that point. If it's me simply alone, without you two rewriting this, Rey's our first introduced baddie.
Oh my gosh. Then we get Darth Rey with her sweet. I love that lightsaber. The
Did that one for you, Tony.
Yeah, thanks, dog. I love that.
So is Rey bad from the gate, or do they find her and she falls, or how did you see that?
The way I saw it is she is bad from the gate. I'm pulling from actual current canonical episode 7.
Okay, yeah.
She's in Jakku.
No.
Oh, okay.
We
Sorry,
find her. We find her already, and I'm jumping about 10 steps here.
Okay, I'm hear you. I hear you.
She has been found by Palpatine. Hint, hint. We're still bringing Palpatine back. Episode 1, 7, episode 1 of our sequels. She has been found by Palpatine either as a child or never lost, and has raised her through the dark side from day one or a very early day.
So my only caveat is, what are we doing with Snoke? Do we trash him? Do we not?
Yeah, I think
Is this our
trash
Snoke?
him.
I trash Snoke as well.
Dang, dogs. I kind of like Snoke. Well, he's so unknown. That's why I was like, we got to give this. It's like Captain Phasma. I want to give him a little bit of an umph, but so you guys trash him. We can trash him. It's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, at least for now, we can get into 8 and 9. I don't know.
So all I do ask is that if we bring Palpatine back, we show Plagueis flashbacks where Palpatine is there, watching Plagueis, showing his research, doing his things, not really appreciating the craft, but learning the craft enough. So then there's like, because do we still have Rey be the Palpatine? Or you're saying Rey is completely...
No, Rey's still... Actually, here,
so that's why, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, the only reason why I think the Palpatine thing works is if you bring the cloning in, because that's what he would have done that. I mean, we don't have to solve it now, but I'm just saying Palpatine's back.
Oh yeah.
I think we have to spend at least 20 minutes of the movie explaining it in a good way. But before that explanation, somewhere in here we have to give daps up to Plagueis.
Yeah,
sure. That's all I ask.
Yeah, I think that's fine, and I think we can even keep to the fact that Rey is a clone or a child of a clone.
Yeah,
how does that?
I'm
Gregor Mendel was not prepped for that.
No, he was not.
How does that even work?
I think you could do it either way. You could do it where, the way it was in episode 7 and on, Palpatine had a clone son.
Yep.
Looked nothing like him.
Just like Jango and
Yep.
And Boba.
Which is kind of interesting because, technically he just didn't have the growth factor, so it still would have ended up looking like him. But
Right, but-
maybe they did extra. Kim and Odin's are. This is the
They
Boba
lost.
3.0.
They lost a lot of the days, so they were making tweaks.
Yeah.
They had a child. It was Rey. You could still play that line.
Oh,
and,
1,000%. Yeah.
Grandpa's training her.
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay, I
Yeah.
love it. All right, you're back. I'm back on.
My plan B here was she is not the next Anakin. She's someone that Palpatine had saw and groomed and found and said, hey, I found you in the Force. You're powerful. You're going to be strong. I'm going to take you under my wing before they can find you.
Because of that, I think Palpatine just falls trap to the standard Sith master student. Each student that becomes, because of the rule of two, he's going to be like, well, we don't need it because he already breaks the rule of two.
Well, Plagueis broke it. Plagueis was the first one to break it. Yeah,
but either way, like the student ends up killing the master and becomes the master. But then when he's the master, he's too egotistical to see his student becoming stronger.
Yeah.
So like Plagueis didn't expect Palpatine to kill him.
Yeah.
And I don't think Palpatine's going to see Rey killing him.
Yeah, or
You know what I mean?
or it might double down and he might be like, oh no, the rule 2's back because of you know what I mean? Like I killed my master like this, so I should watch out for my own back. So it's kind of weird. I agree. There's 2 play points. I think there's 2 folks on there. But the other thing that got me really excited. So the whole point though is right when you said it, it's awesome because the Plagueis book, spoiler alerts by the way, that whole thing is James Lucano is basically saying like Anakin was born of the Force. And the only reason why that happened was because that is the second that Palpatine and Plagueis unlocked the everlasting life. Oh. They were basically doing the Sith ritual, and that Sith ritual was so powerful, and the understanding was so great that the only way for the Force to balance itself out, basically, was to bore the sun. And once the sun was born, the whole shtick was that, it's kind of like the whole free will thing, right? You know what I mean? He can go either way, but he is like your best hope against this person.
Yep.
So this is where I love what you mentioned. This is kind of where my head's going. Is Plagueis saw this and was like, okay, great, wow, this is amazing. Like we have this basically this pawn, so to speak, that hasn't chosen his color yet.
Yep.
Other thing on top of that too, and then of course the events play out. I think Palpatine is so like. When you said she's like the next Anakin, he's like, no, it's of my line. So the chosen one is born out of my line, so
Yes.
I need to raise her up. And basically, the clone has a kid, and he goes, all right, this is you. You know what I mean? Like, technically, you were born of the Force / mine, so, you know what I mean? Like, I really like that because it's kind of a spit on the face of Plagueis for just one last bit, and then the last one is just kind of like, oh man, this is the chosen one, but not the real chosen. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I want to say something's not perfected yet, and this holocron is the answer to it. And that's how they meet, because he sends Rey to get it.
Oh, I like
that better than where I was going. Mine was still finding the holocron, but Rey and Palpatine had it, and Luke and Ben came looking for it. And they crossed paths.
I love these.
I love these.
I love these, and I also love the fact that once again we weren't comparing notes.
No,
I looked up a ton of holocrons, so now we can choose which holocron that we think would be pretty solid. Because there's actually like 3 of them that kind of fit perfectly on this. So the 3 that I really think kind of work with this is Bella Darzu. So she was the one that Bane originally sought out for, but she's all about Sith alchemy, and then also this Machu Duru, but basically it's like imbuing like basically these mechs. But she started making holocrons. Like that was her whole, like she was one of the original creators, or basically reverse engineered how to make a holocron. That's really what she was doing. Because Bane wanted to make a holocron. He didn't know how. And no one's ever, it was a really delicate process. You think building a lightsaber is difficult? Like you're literally imbuing your spirit into this thing. It's a crazy ritual. So that's kind of, so there's one that you can make the holocrons. The other one is Darth Andidu. Sorry, I'm probably butchering these names. The whole point is that was also another Bane one, but it's you can transfer your soul into another person. You basically overpower them with your will. And then the last one is Darth Nihilus. I think this one's a little cooler. But the whole point is like it's all of his Sith secrets, also before him Sith secrets. But he was the guy who literally was so powerful in the Force that he shed his corporeal body away and literally his spirit was so powerful, the dark side, that he imbued himself in. It's kind of like Full Metal Alchemist. He imbued himself in his armor and robes. And he's the world eater. He was the guy that literally sucked the Force in. So I think...
So it sounds like that's the one.
I think it's got to be Nihilus. I think it's got to be Nihilus, right? I think they're looking for his holocron.
Yeah.
I think that's perfect. Cool. I love that. I love that. Oh, that's so cool. But so we think Palpatine is sending Rey to find that holocron for evil doing. I mean, is there anything in particular that they were kind of like, hey, we got to go see this one?
I mean, Palpatine's motive is ultimate power.
Yeah.
And that is ultimate power.
Yeah. So I know it sounds simple. I think that's what it is.
Yeah. No, I like the simplicity of it. Because the other thing, too, is that this is not just for the hardcore, like for us, just sitting in a basement and talking about this. I think this movie's got to reach out for a lot of people, right? So I think, sometimes the simplest premises are actually where the complexities of deep background characters and everything can really shine through. It doesn't have to get so complicated. So
before we move on with any of that, do we want to stick with that we're bringing back all the original characters? Like, so how does Poe and Finn... I struggled on how to bring Finn into it since he was a resistance soldier. And in our version, the resistance has... Not the resistance. The First Order.
Yeah.
Not really a thing right now.
Well, they kind of were.
I would still say they are.
I think they were probably the loyalist. I think the loyalist of the one would bleed into the First Order. I think the First Order still happens.
I think we still follow that plan of when the Empire fell, the Emperor had plans in place that his high-ranking officials and those he deemed worthy would still... They'd go off to their far regions. They'd still rebuild.
Yeah.
They regroup. I think that still happens.
Because not the entire Empire is on the Death Star, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that would be dumb.
There's still hundreds of Star Destroyers. And
there's a lot.
Not Juggernauts. What were the big ones called?
Dreadnoughts. Yeah.
But that's the New Republic, I guess, has probably been, trying to hunt them down.
Exactly.
Right? The remaining...
Their First Order business is probably decommissioning. It's an arms dance, right?
Yeah.
You really gotta kind of not disarm them fully, but take away their big firepower.
Yeah.
Or have equally big firepower, which I don't think they would at the time. But no, I like that. I like the fact that we're kind of showing it, but I really love the fact you bring Finn in here. I still think his character kind of plays out, right? There's First Order adjacent.
Yep.
He is trained in, but I want more than anything to actually give Finn his due. Finn was the most interesting character out of all of these characters. I'm not gonna lie. Kylo Ren, cool, but I was like, we've seen this Darth Vader fall already.
But we hadn't seen his lightsaber.
We hadn't seen his lightsaber. You're right.
Yeah,
that was sick. But then Rey, it's kind of like, we've seen all this stuff, and we saw Poe. It's just a Han Solo rebranded. But Finn was the one where I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much unique here. Like what does all this look like? How does he break away from all this mind? What's happening? So I still think we give Finn a big old question mark, meaning he falls away from the First Order. How does he do it? We don't know yet. But I'm going Force sensitive, 1,000%.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's
so.
what's going to be.
I think so.
I think he's going to be Force sensitive. But he's not going to come into that until episode 8. Yeah. Movie 2, episode 8. But how do we link, though, Poe and Finn to what's going on? Because I don't want the political power to be like, oh, go grab that holocron. So it's 3 people grabbing the holocron.
Yeah,
that doesn't make a lot of sense.
Because they run into each other because BB-8 has the missing piece to see Luke, right? That's
correct, the missing map.
So we have Luke. So I think here we can twist a little bit back to your political. And yeah, there's an arms struggle. Poe is still the best fighter pilot in the New Republic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's still a soldier. He's still trudging on. He's probably leading these missions out to find these still Empire vessels, bring them down, First Order, whatever you want to call them at this point. Yeah. He's still on the hunt. We can still have that, and maybe they have an infiltration mission. They run into Poe, or they run into Finn. And, you can still play it out that way.
I still think, I think we played out that way. I also believe that I was really interested in getting them all together at once, but what if the 4 main characters don't even see each other for the first movie?
Yeah, that would be insane.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
I think we parallel process this whole time.
Finn and Rey don't see each other all of 8,
Oh,
yeah.
But
he's with Rose.
Yeah.
But I love that because we can add so much more detail.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we need to add more to that because
the plots will eventually come together, but
worried about that in movie
correct,
2.
yeah.
But in movie 1, we can go more in depth on that relationship.
Yeah.
We can go more in depth on maybe there's a whole like training montage because we saw the Kaminoans cloning facilities in Clone Wars, Attack of the Clones, and then the actual Clone Wars show, and also the Clone War. Gosh, you see it in everything. Oh, no, I'm thinking about it. But the whole point is that, and then Bad Batch and everything. But the whole point is that I think we show that rigor, that whole how are they brainwashing these kids? Because this has probably been going on since. All this stuff is happening, so I think there's
he
a
was
big
taken
portion.
as a kid,
Yeah, 1,000%. So I think we can show that backstory, and I think that will fill a lot of airtime.
Yeah,
where we show the backstories of that. We still have them come out doing exactly like that, right? They still meet by somehow Poe's get captured. Oh, I love it, Sean. You reacted. No, brother. I'm gonna let you breathe, brother.
What if Poe and Rey, not Poe, I do this every time, Finn and Rey have met, and they don't know it?
Oh,
via this training rigor.
Oh,
they have to train Rey. They have to train the troopers.
Yeah.
So they could be using, stun blasters or something against her, and she could be out training with them the whole time, or leading factions.
Yeah. Or since Finn is force sensitive, but he doesn't know it yet, and for some reason, he hasn't been detected. Right, right. So
they show us teasers, like he does something and something moves. Right,
exactly.
It's very,
he reacts way too well to certain things.
So that bleeds in my next one. So then now we get a real wink at the camera, because here's the thing, because Rey has to come in for survival training or combat training, and they go bring out your finest warriors. Finn's one of them. They're going on. He's the only one who's able to go toe-to-toe with Rey for a little bit. You know how they're all attacking and everything?
Yeah.
But for Rey deflects a bolt and he dodges it. And everyone's like, hey, that's our top student there. But deep down, everyone, the people in the know are going to look at this and go, whoa, what's going on? But eventually he is going to get stunned, right? I feel like he does one or two good dodges and gets immediately stunned. But it was enough time.
Everyone's just like,
A wink. Yeah. I love that. And then that's the start. You know what I mean? Boom. Yeah. And then he holds on to that knowledge for, X amount of episodes. But
that's good. I like that.
I like that.
Yeah.
Because I like the fact that they can meet. Yeah. Because I think the other thing, too, is if you show kind of these parallels, that'd be so cool.
I think we gotta, I love the idea that we can do all this in parallel. You don't want too many parallels.
No.
So I think that's a really good way you can combine those two in a way and have it be two separate stories in one.
Yeah.
And then you have, Poe come in. That storyline now splits, and you now have the Poe Finn storyline of Finn flipping.
Yeah. I love it.
I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, because it's a quick hit and run. You see it, and then it's another time where we're in our heads going, "Who's this Finn guy?" I like that question. I really like when you showing your cards all immediately is always not really a good option. You kind of want something, but you also don't want such a twist that it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
because I guess they did do that effectively for his character, because they twisted and turned him so many different times that
they really didn't know
what he
what
was.
to do. Yeah.
But no, I love that, because we're as a group thinking more about it.
Yes.
That's what matters.
And then so they have a connection. I guess we really don't need a Poe and Ben connection, but I'm thinking.
Oh, we could stretch that, but is that too much of a stretch?
I think so, but because what I'm saying is, at the end of the movie, it's Poe is off fighting something that Finn's at, and Luke and Ben are with Rey and Palpatine. I think that's I don't like the stories.
Yeah,
the two lines of the.
Yeah, I don't think it would be necessary, but I think you could do it if Ben's been training under Luke, and Leia is still the general of the rebellion. Poe's their best fighter. I feel like their paths would cross.
Yeah, that's true.
Or maybe Poe was sent to pick up Leia.
Yeah,
for a, you know what I mean? Not for a mission, but just a.
It wouldn't be wild
convoy.
that they know each other.
Yeah, and I think maybe when you do bring them all together in Episode 8, they're just nonchalant about it. They're like, "Oh wow, I haven't seen you in 2 years." You could all just play it off like they've known each other.
Or it's kind of like not, the fanboy. Oh my gosh, I heard a lot about you. Ben. Ben Solo kind of deal.
Kind of like how Count Dooku and Obi-Wan never met, but knew of each
other.
Yep.
Qui-Gon always spoke very highly of you. Oh, gosh.
Only if Obi-Wan would have listened then.
Dude, only if. We wouldn't even have this conversation.
We would.
Yeah.
But no, I like that. And I really like how I love and appreciate the fact that already we have two stories or two lines, two threads that are on one overarching thread. We still are keeping that in mind.
Yep.
I think the other thing, too, is that we're giving each of the threads equally, we're giving them equal love, right? A lot of TLC on both sides. So I think as long as we can kind of, that's basically our episode 7.
Yeah.
Our episode 7 is introducing that. I think it's going through that. And I think, do we make episode 7 end with them at the holocron? Do we make it go a little bit past it? Like, what's your thoughts? Because we're going to get to a point where they're going after this holocron. What happens?
I think it needs to end with Rey killing Palpatine and her becoming
7.
the baddie. Yes.
Full baddie.
Yeah.
My thought is Rey doesn't kill Palpatine. Rey and Luke encounter each other. Luke brings her in, sees the good in her, which Luke does.
Sean, I
Sees
love you.
the good in
I
her.
love you, Sean. I love
And
you.
then-
That's so good.
But I still think you have to end 7 with someone
Dying.
taking down Palpatine. We cannot string him on
No,
any
no,
longer.
no.
People were not happy with him in the sequels as was.
Yeah.
But I think, we decided here we're going to have him in as the intro, and then it's time for new blood.
And I think, too, just for funsies, he will make a cameo in the second movie.
Oh,
Just
sure.
because they're going to, like, Rey's explaining her background and maybe her lineage.
Yep.
And that's when you see the whole Palpatine Plagueis.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. I like that.
Right, yeah.
I still think he has
it's-
to get knocked out.
It's a clear flashback, right? But that's fine. Yeah.
But what inspires her to knock him out? Right?
She's-
I was thinking more of, like, she legitimately got a holocron in her amongst her things, and that's been kind of tipping her end, right? Of what's, I don't know. I'm thinking more of like, because Darth Bane does have a holocron. I love Bane. I really think we probably should give him some daps and props, just like Plagueis. But at the same time, too, I don't want to go too heavy, because the more you introduce,
Yeah.
you're kind of doing too many Easter eggs,
Yeah.
so I want to be mindful of that. But what would cause her to take out Palpatine? We can also table this. I just
I think
posing into the group.
I think my theory here is that either her or Ben or Luke, whoever does take out Palpatine, it is related to a holocron. A holocron comes up. It either gives them this knowledge, this power, something that tells them you need to take him out. And then I threaded a lot of different ways here of how this could go out. When you take out Palpatine, his spirit imbues into you, and maybe you don't know it right away. You go back to the temple, you're having your hot chocolate with your blue milk,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden you just start getting worse, feeling worse, being more angry, disobeying more. And that builds. There's a lot of ways I felt this could go.
Well, we could we could make Luke kill Palpatine. He needs to finish the job, what he started 30 years ago, once he finds out he's alive. But then Rey kills Luke.
Oh.
And she finally takes the mantle and becomes the Sith Master. And I thought a long time about this on her Sith name. I'm just gonna throw it out there.
I love it. I haven't even heard it. I love it.
So her name's Rey, right? Which means like sunshine and light. Darth Nocturna, which is like nocturnal.
Yeah.
Darkness.
I love that.
Just a workshop, but
No. I like it. I love it. Darth Nocturna. I like that. For a second, I thought you were going to do like the whole shout out to Remus, because Remus is your boy, Remus Lupin.
lycanthropy.
By the way, thank you for saying that. One of my good friends, who great listener to the podcast, she brought up. She goes, "Oh, by the way, it wasn't in this episode. This episode was like, oh my gosh, maybe we should add it in every once in a while." But no, I really appreciate that comment. No, I love that Darth Nocturna.
Or because we need
Luke's character, though?
or we need just a little bit of a. Like Sean said, there's plenty of different things.
Yeah.
Luke could kill him, or we could just do a little bit of a throwback here, and Luke sacrifices himself. Palpatine kills him, like Vader kills Obi-Wan. Go ahead.
No, I really like that, and I'm wondering if there's a way, Luke being the Luke he is now and so knowledgeable about the Force, if there's a way that Luke knows he can strike down Palpatine, knowing Palpatine and all of his Forceness that he does will imbue himself into Luke, or at least try to. Luke makes the ultimate sacrifice and takes himself to end it and be done. It has nowhere to go.
Oh my gosh! And we had the Japanese throw because all this is like inspired by. He's Subakus. Literally Subakus.
I like that. I like that.
But also, I think another thing too is that he has studied so much of the Force. He would become a living Force ghost, but because Palpatine goes on, he knows he has to sacrifice eternal life for it.
Oh, you took that way too deep.
Dang. Well, that's for people like us. That's for people like us. Yeah. We don't show that on screen, but we know. Yeah. We know the sacrifice, and not the stupid Oogway, Master Oogway of just disappearing into the wind. But no, I love the Subaku aspect. I don't know if that technically makes us a PG-13 rating. I'm not quite sure, but regardless,
well, he doesn't have to, traditional Subaku, like stab himself. He could. Like what we do see him pass away from, he could just be creating this ultimate Force implosion. I don't know how else to call it upon himself.
Well, no, it needs to be a stab because canon has established that anyone that is not part of Qui-Gon's line can survive a stomach stab.
Man, we're getting out of that. But no, I love that. But I believe though, just cinematically, because what really brings it home is like thinking about what the camera will see and what the audience will see. I really believe that. So we're saying that Palpatine just goes right for Luke, right? Or does he? Or no. Luke understands. Sorry, I'm just revamping what we just said, just for my own thing. So Luke understands that he has to kill Palpatine.
Yes.
Palpatine, then darkness goes into him, but he already knows how this is going to play out. This is the only way to really truly end it. And at the end of the day, it's not that he's striking down his enemy, but more or less he's striking down himself for the ultimate sacrifice for everyone there. I think at the very end of that, we just get he gets the Sith eyes. You know what I mean? The orange Sith eyes. And then all of a sudden, but his voice is super calm like Luke's, and just with all the tranquility and serenity in the world, just boom.
Yep.
Dies.
Yep.
Oh, that'd be so cool. Okay. Sorry. That was a little bit of a revamp, but I tried to think about it.
I love that.
I had to redo it in my head because just thinking about it, it's do we make the lightsaber green go slightly, you know what I mean? Bleed it a little bit?
Flicker.
Yeah. Oh.
I
think flicker, not bleed, but yeah.
I really like that because it makes me think to one of my favorite things in the Obi-Wan series is the back and forth we see with Anakin and Darth Vader.
Yeah.
You see the struggle of the good and the dark there. And if you get a little hint of that with Luke, because Luke is very gray in his abilities, so he already has a little bit of that there. And if you let it peek through just a little bit, I think that'd be really
you're paying
cool.
homage to it. I think the other thing, too, is that in the Obi-Wan, they did that in Rebels. That was my only stick. I was like, dang, they already did this in Rebels, but they replicated it in Obi-Wan. The whole, Vader gets half his mask off, and they're talking back and forth. But what I will say is that scene was, I would argue, almost more powerful because his voice changer, basically his internal switch.
Yep. Yes.
And you can literally hear it. I was cinematically, I'm like,
that was amazing.
You're brilliant. You're brilliant.
Yeah.
You're just brilliant. The sound guy or whoever did that is a freaking genius.
That was great.
Oh, but I think you do. I love that last minute, appreciating the fact that he's a little gray and there is something going on. And that's why he understands that. I think because of his grayness, he understands that this Force spirit is going to attack him. I think that's the only reason why he knows. I think that's the only way that we truly end this perpetual back and forth between the Sith and Jedi is because they finally understand both the things. And that's the first kind of hint where Luke's academy will actually persist.
Yeah.
I think it's beautiful.
And this legitimately the final Sith and the final Jedi.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of the old ways, anyway.
Perfect. Yeah. But that's the best part. This is movie one.
Yes, it's movie one.
We were tie it in a bow, give it to Santa, and smack him on the butt and get him blue milk and cookies. But yeah,
yeah.
Get him going, get him out of here. I think that's perfect. I think it's a great end to episode one.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, great. Now what the heck do we do?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I had so much thought on that one.
I cooked heavy on episode 7 and not so much on the other two, but we'll go there.
I'm the same way because
I think we can power through this.
Yeah, my thing was a lot of my thought process was dependent how we did episode 7, but we can rip throughout the rest of this. I think this is where now we're truly in a writer's room right now. We're literally here. Yeah.
So I also workshopped titles for all 3 movies.
Ooh.
Dang, Mark.
I know. Look at me. I'll go through 8 and 9 after we do them, right? But Star Wars 7, Embers of the Empire.
Oh.
Ooh, okay.
because
like
they're in the background, but it's not quite out yet.
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Working, it's a work in
So
progress.
then, I'm excited for the second one too, because now we're kind of getting to the point where the embers are over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is it now ash, and then the next one's growth? I don't know. You know what I mean? How do we kind of build
Phoenix.
this? Yeah, Phoenix. Yeah, Phoenix would be cool. Dang. Okay, so let's think back to our 2 threads. Do we have Poe and Finn do anything with that, or not really? I feel like don't even let them touch it. I think they're gonna actually meet in the second movie.
I agree. So
Okay.
we
You know
have
what I mean?
we've got them. So this is how I saw it. I like the idea of the current sequels. How the first Star Wars 7 kind of focused on Han, right, and then we lost him. Second one focused on Luke, we lost him. Last one focused on Leia, we lost her. I like that, and I kept that in my notes here. First one, we were heavy on Luke, and so it's going to be more the Luke Ben Solo storyline. The next one going to be heavy on Leia, so I think we're going to see a lot of the politics in the second one.
yeah.
The aftermath of all this, because Ben's going to go back to tell his mom what happened,
Yep.
and now we know that there's the apprentice that is now the master. And I don't know if Ben and Luke find out that they have a whole secret faction somewhere, right, or whatever. They know there's enemy. There's more than they thought is still here, kind of thing. And then I don't know. We work on into the ninth one somehow.
Well, so really quick, just at the end of that, Rey canonically, Rey is in the throne room or whatever room that they're in with the whole Palpatine Luke thing, right? But Luke is the one who actually kills himself, because that's the whole. I think there's got to be a moment where Rey tries to go take out Luke because she understands, like, I need to go, kill the mantle. But if she does it, then his spirit just goes right to her.
Correct.
So he knows he has to end it. So that's how he ends it. So then do we end the movie in that? And so the start of the second movie, or 8, is going to be what happens with Ben and Rey. Because now Ben's without a master.
So is Rey.
So is Rey.
Does Ben escape? Do we have Ben escape?
That's what I'm saying.
Are they both? Is he knocked out at this point? Does he
Yeah.
even? I think he needs to see it. I think he needs to have that emotional connection.
Oh, no.
He sees his uncle do it, right? I think that needs to happen.
Yeah, because I think that's much more of a mind bender if he does that.
Yeah.
The other thing too. I know you're talking about the political stuff, but in my head, I just need to know where that ended, so that we know where it picks up on the second movie.
Yeah.
So I think maybe we ended there with a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Like, what do they do? Maybe they just both look up at each other and just lights out.
Yeah, I totally, in my brain, I had this that, in this sense of compassion and freeness, Rey actually comes to the light. Which I'm actually now, you still need the baddie here. In my brain, she was going to come to the light, her and Kylo were going to flip. It was going to be a whole power struggle in the temple. Might be too much for episode 8, might not be, I don't know. But I think if we get into the politics of it, which I think we're going to do in 8, Palpatine would have had claws in the politics left and right.
I agree.
And you need someone to pick that up.
She's going to pick it up.
Exactly.
Sure. Yeah.
That's why I think she has to stay
that's right. Yeah, my bad. Yeah.
on his side.
Yeah.
Because she's going to pick up that mantle.
Well, the Loyalists. He's going to have spies in the Loyalists. I tried to work somehow that, like, now Rey's part of the Senate, but I'm like, I don't know if that would flow very well. If she just shows up as a senator from Naboo, because she's technically of Naboo descent, right? I don't know how that would all work. I don't think Leia would allow her in the Senate chambers.
Well, if she knew who she was.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Okay, I say Ben escapes, and cut to black. But I don't think we start. I guess we could start episode 8.
I think we start episode 8 politically. I think we
I
go
agree.
on the political
Yeah.
thread. Yeah. And then I think we kind of play on that. I also think, too, 8 is a very, almost like an extension of Andor, where we see a lot of this play out, where it was actually during the rebellion, they're kind of all fighting like, hey, you believe that, we should not get this mission done. But now it's kind of it's an inverse Endor. It's a, Endor -1 kind of deal. Because what we're doing is, it's now the opposite. Now we have the power. How do we solve this? And I feel like we need to figure out, in the midst of them solving it, this whole... Because at the very end... Oh, sorry. We should mention this too. At the very end, Finn turns. Finn leaves the First Order. I think that's a great, ender, right? I feel like Finn is now leaving. So now they have Finn and Poe. What does the New Republic have them do that we can now piggy them into a situation where they're going to see Rey, or they're going to see Ben, or they're going to see someone, right?
Do we have Finn leave as simplicity, or do we make it that Poe and him make a friendship, and now they use Finn as a spy?
Oh my gosh, you're going Severus Snape on it. I like that.
You're going Rebels on it.
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, yeah, I was in Rebels too, yeah.
Forgetting his name.
Oh, yeah, he's got
Episode
the
8.
mutton chops.
Finn's,
I can't remember his name.
and we could make even, maybe this is too much, but maybe we could make Poe undercover. He joins him in there. They get close to Phasma. This is how we can flesh Phasma out a little bit.
Thank you. I was waiting for the Phasma.
In number 8,
yeah.
Phasma can be a big character. That could be their storyline, while Leia is dealing with the politics. And I'm thinking about it. I think Rey...
Callus, by the way, sorry.
Thank you.
Callus.
Yeah.
He was a mutton chops guy.
Yeah.
It was going to bother me so much. Okay, yep. I love where you're going. Keep
If
going.
Rey gets involved, I almost think she's not involved with the Loyalists. She's involved with the faction that just wants chaos. No government.
Okay, I like it. By the way, that's more of, we're now going more of a Maul route, because that's what Darth Maul did. He went, that's the whole point of Crimson Dawn. He was just trying to do all the significates and all that fun stuff.
And take over the Mandalorians.
And we can bring in the Mandalorians. Don't get me wrong. Cool. Din Djarin's coming in here. You know what I mean? Don't worry about that. He's coming in. Bo-Katan, whole 9 yards. Because I also want a good scene where Katie Sackhoff's there and she says "frack" on camera, and it's just a callback to Battlestar Galactica, but it's in Star Wars. I would love that. That'd mean the world to me.
Kind of like how we see E.T. in the
Senate chamber.
Shouldn't you be eating Reese's Pieces? I don't know why I try to say that on a podcast, but
I think we're missing a very key character here, and it's Darth Jar Jar.
oh. He's
in the shadows. He is the embers of the Empire.
He's the Crimson Dawn. Yeah. No, I think when they go to the holocron, there's going to be like these ancient drawings and everything. And just like, why are Gungans keep coming up, and the final boss at the holocron, they had to face Jar Jar.
Oh my!
I would love that. But maybe that's when the studio pick up the rest of the story, but we as fans just make our own.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
okay.
There's gonna be a fanfic after, right? We got to make that in. So we're fleshing out Captain Phasma, right? Mm-hmm.
Poe and Finn are working from the inside to bring down the army, the First Order army, air quotes, because I don't know if we're going to call them the First Order or what.
Yeah.
I think it works. I mean, and everyone understands what that is.
Yeah, we know where you're going. So Captain Phasma is still leading a troop. Finn is underneath her, doing his stuff. But
I
does
think Captain
Poe join in
Phasma-
on that? But what do you mean by Poe? Poe he's got to be out. He's not in the system.
Well,
Or you're saying he goes into the system?
Mark is saying when
Like full infiltration. I thought it was just only one of them was infiltrating.
Well,
You're
no.
going
So
full.
Poe has a mission, and as part of that, meets this stormtrooper Finn. He's like, "Hey, I need out. This is horrible." Poe's like, "Actually, I need in. Can you be my in?"
Yeah, let's just switch jackets, and they switch jackets. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and so like Phasma's kind of like the
General, whatever.
Grand Moff Tarkin. He's the leader. She's the leader of.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think we need Hux. We can cut Hux, and Phasma's just the leader of the armies. I think.
Yeah, I cut that out. But military force.
Yeah. But I mean, I think that'd be really cool if we have Finn and Poe working on the inside.
Just slowly getting up.
Yeah, trying to dismantle the armies from the inside,
Slowly feeding information back to Leia.
while there's a whole thing in the Senate where Rey's there trying to supplant Leia as or whoever we choose, if it's Mom Mothma, whoever it is. I saw this as it's culminating into like a big, like we find out Leia decided, like Luke first trained Leia, and we find that out through flashbacks and stuff. But she decided that she didn't want to do it. She gave up the Jedi way. But she has to do it to fight Rey at the end of.
Well, now that Luke's gone, someone has to take it up. So I think
it could.
You could also have this is where we can pull in Ahsoka Tano too, right? You know what I mean? She's kind of almost like a perfect fit because she's kind of wanting to teach Grey Jedis anyway, and so maybe we could bring her in. But I thought what you were going to go on. That's what I got really excited about. Is while they're infiltrating though. So do you know how like Ben? So we're kind of cutting out Ben. We should probably focus on Ben. We need to focus on Ben a little bit because the reason why I was going to have not Ben be the connection, but Finn be the connection, not the actual connection in the movie, but more or less while they're infiltrating, Rey just keeps getting this like itch on the back of her head, basically being like, someone's force sensitive around me. Mm-hmm. She senses Finn, but she can't put her finger on it. And that's where I'm kind of curious. Do we want to maybe go this route of, I think that's how they get caught. I think Rey will eventually figure out, kind of homing beacon on Finn and go, what the heck are you doing here? And then maybe we get more complexity because the only way to save his friend Poe is for him to join Rey. So now we got another rule of two.
Okay.
And then you could do the whole Snape thing again, because now, understanding that he wanted to leave, but knew the repercussions of, like, I'm thinking just, you're right, we have to have motivations. You can't have people just twirling the mustache, right? The path to hell is paved on good intentions. Like, I want to make it seem like these characters are believable. Finn wants to get out more than anything. Poe comes in, says the levity or the gravity of everything going on. He then believes, okay, we need to infiltrate, we'll keep you in. They do that. As he's doing that, he gets a really good relationship with Poe. So much so that they're like brothers. Then finally, when Rey deduces the fact that Finn is a force wielder, or is force sensitive at least to it, I think that is when Finn will make the decision of cutting out. So basically he goes, I will join you on the stipulation that you let Poe go. Is that too hacky? Is that something we don't really want to touch?
I think we can play on it in a way that Rey almost confides into Finn, and that, hey, this is not the same organization it was. I'm our leader now. We're going to change things up.
Oh.
You're going to help me do it.
Okay.
And that kind of pulls him back in, because if he wants out, he's going to want out.
I love the complexity.
The realism, he wants to save his new friend, but the other realism is like everyone, he wants a little bit of that. He wants to understand this side of him. And she is the only one around that says can help do it,
Or maybe same thought process, but instead of saying, hey, Finn, come with me, she figures him out, thinking that there's going to be a huge scrap. They're like, okay, my life's over. She actually spares them and says exactly that and goes, hey, I'm trying to change things up.
Yeah.
And then that's where we get distance between Poe and Finn, because then they're going to leave. Finn's going to really think back and go, whoa, that's actually a leader I might want to be behind. And then Poe's going to be like, dude, we've been fighting together this whole time, but, it's kind of this, now we're in the moral gray area of back and forth, because then I think Finn's going to advocate a little bit for her, because he's going to be like, hey, she saved us. Yep. Maybe all of this Senate talk and all these politicking is actually, we're groveling over stuff that doesn't exist anymore because Luke's sacrifice. And now we're kind of bringing back in Luke's sacrifice. I think, because I don't feel like that's going to be felt in the Force community. It's not going to be felt in the politics. The politics is going to be heat, and it's going to keep going. Yep. And I think they're still going to be fighting this elusive enemy, which honestly probably doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, and I think that's on both sides. The First Order Empire Fallen isn't going to feel the effect that the Emperor is gone.
Yeah.
It's going to feel, hey, this young new person is taking charge. They want to change how we're doing things. And the other part of this is, if she just lets Finn and or Poe go, I'm just thinking Poe, Finn probably might stay or come back.
Yeah.
She ain't just letting him go.
Right.
There's going to be something tailing him, something on him. She's got some hold there.
But it's almost like the best hold is a psychological hold.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe just letting him go is the hold, right? You know what I mean? In a weird way, it's like, it's almost like this weird Stockholm syndrome, but you actually release them. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like the idea that you were going on, is that they both go and he's in his mind games. Poe is.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
Not Poe. Finn.
Finn is on his mind game. Yep.
Finn is in his mind games, and Rey might have learned some of Palpatine's mind tricks, because in the current sequels, he was reaching out through the Force.
He made the connection.
He made the connection. She might be able to do that with, one person, short range. She might be able to get into his head just enough to pull him in.
We get a flashback to Palpatine teaching her the ways of Plagueis and stuff like that. That's our segue into your thing, Tony.
I love that. No, I really like that. God, I'm impressed. God. I already knew this was going to be a lot of fire, but holy cow!
Really, a movie and a half in,
this.
Tony.
I know, I love it. The only problem I'm seeing is like, we need to find something where it gets people excited to watch Episode 3. I think this is enough. We're planting enough seeds to fruit. Mm-hmm. I think that's the big thing, right? 2 has to be some setup. For 3 is inevitable resolution. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's a really good setup because I feel like this is where we kind of need the politics to come in, but it needs to be the politics of like, I don't know. I like where I can't put a word to it, right? Mm-hmm. I just really like where we're going with it because this is not like trade federation talks that's going to bore everybody, but these are actual politics that are more psychological and less about my tariffs and taxes, but rather kind of like why Doom was so popular, right? It's like the whole, like, what is power, right? The second that you get it, here's this person literally bred for power. He's got really good intentions, but the second he actually starts getting power, he starts making some morally gray situations. I think playing onto that is exactly what we're going down. Yeah. So I think there's enough seeds in there. I think this is interesting enough where we're not going to bog people down. It's not going to be, I will say the Plagueis book, I love it, but when they talk about the IBC, holy cow, Intergalactic Banking Clan, there's like 3 chapters that went way into depth on why the Trade Federation like got their credits, and I was like, dude, I'm not an accountant. I can't do this. I can't do this, right? Yeah, cooking the books in a galactic thing is just a weird thing to read. I loved it though, but it was good. So where are we going to go from here? We do have to give some love to Ben Solo. Ben Solo has not gotten much. What do we do with Ben? What do we do with the fallout that Luke is no longer the headmaster, so to speak, of his academy? Who replaces him?
Does Ben replace him? Is Ben so distraught
that he can't?
At the time? And I don't know, does Leia have to pick up the pieces or something?
Yeah, I feel like first and foremost,
we also haven't given a lot of love to Leia. But.
Oh yeah. I think. Oh yeah, we're doing the whole like we have to follow people. I don't know how we're gonna do Han Solo. Han Solo actually makes sense if we do the whole syndicate thing. That'll be 3. The whole syndicate with Rey. Mark, you're a genius. Yeah. God, you're playing.
We haven't gotten there yet, Tony.
I know you're playing chess. I'm playing checkers. I'm messing around.
I didn't even have it on the brain. I love it.
Yeah, I'm
just over here.
Yeah. So we got Candyland, chess, and checkers. But I point that around. I point that around. No. The big deal I wanted to bring into that is, once again, we're going back to this whole scene. Ben is looking at Luke's back. So when the eyes change and the whole spirit gets into Luke, I don't think Ben sees that. I think Ben literally just saw Luke vanquish his mortal foe. Even though he said there's always place for forgiveness, he in 6 threw down his weapon in front of his mortal foe, but now he decides to kill him. And then after it, he can't deal with the situation. He kills himself. Because I think if he sees the Sith eyes, he would go like, oh, like he's piecing it together. I feel like he doesn't piece it together. I think that's why Ben Solo gets so distraught.
Oh, he's torn up.
And I think this is
it's against everything his uncle's ever taught him.
Correct. This is literally against everything.
Yeah.
I really like that. So that's why I wanted to go back and be like, he doesn't see the Sith eyes. He doesn't know, right? Like he doesn't get this. He's not piecing. Us as the audience have it.
Does Rey know?
Does not. I think Rey would know. I like Rey knowing him not. Or you just not. Don't even.
No, I think that's fine. I think she can play some mind games with that.
Oh, 1,000%. I think Rey is a master manipulator. Darth Nocturna. Yeah,
Darth Nocturna. Yeah. She's gonna be telling the truth. She's gonna say, your uncle had the darkness in him. I saw it. You have no idea how dark he truly was, and he's gonna disbelieve it.
Oh,
he's gonna lose as much mind.
As he can.
But the weirdest, that's what I love about where this is going, is because she's not wrong.
No.
Yeah.
The best lie is one that's rooted in truth.
Yeah.
And it is true. Luke inherently did have the darkness in him.
Yeah. He was great. He just let.
But not. Yeah. It was the Palpatine darkness, not him. You know.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love this. What does Ben Solo as a character do now distraught? Does he go back to the academy? Does he breed discontent? Basically, by going back and being like, he tells everyone at the academy like what happened, and then all of a sudden, now these academies in a weird fluctuating state because some of the followers are like, Luke would never do that. You're lying. Or they're like, oh my gosh, what did Luke last see? Was there a holocron? Like, did something expose him to this? Because now I think maybe we get a schism in the school. Maybe this is going too far, but maybe we get a schism in the school because some of them are going to be like, whoa, our greatest Jedi at the time, who was telling us that we should be kind of more in tune to both sides, eventually succumb to the dark side. Yeah, is this such a bad thing that we shouldn't even touch it? So I feel like some of them are going to go, whoa, we need to, You know, because that's all thing with faith. You're always going to have this happen. Something happens. There's going to be splintering factions. Factions are going to go, we should no longer believe in this, or we should really double down on it. I feel like that's what's going to happen.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, there's a couple,
And then does Ben Solo does the double down, and he does the one that says we shouldn't do it, and then someone else does the double down version? I don't know. You know?
Well, because Ben is the most, besides Leia,
would be the most seasoned.
Most seasoned Jedi. I mean,
than,
unless
like,
we
Ezra,
bring
Ahsoka,
Ahsoka or them, right? We don't even know if they're alive.
Also,
we can make them alive. We can make,
we've already added too much almost. For
I
kind of
like having Ahsoka be her own thing. She's out doing Jedi-ish things, but she's doing things, you know?
Yeah.
So I kind of like that. You know, she could be, Ezra, we don't know. To make it easy on ourselves, we can keep it with the main cast we already have.
Yeah, that's true.
So what do you want to do from that, though?
Something we could do if I'm not interrupting
Go ahead.
you. He's distraught. He still gets the holocron.
Ooh.
Oh, my.
We completely forgot about the holocron.
He still
We forgot
gets
our own
it.
MacGuffin.
He is distraught. He is in pain. He escapes. He isolates with the holocron to break its powers.
Yeah.
And then we can see that transformation. It's not just, oh, hey, he disappeared and he's going to come back at some point. We see his transformation with this holocron. The knowledge that he gets from it, we can see all that. We can cinematically do that. I think that'd be great.
Dude, okay. All
and
right.
then he comes back to a broken temple. Temple has no idea where anyone is, what's happened. They feel the riff of losing Luke.
Yeah.
They don't know what's happened to Ben. They're in turmoil. He comes back to that.
Yeah.
That'd be so cool. We can bring back like visions of Darth Bane, Darth Raven, just like he sees that through all the Sith secrets.
Once again, I'm thinking about in terms of the camera. So while Rey tries to strike Luke down, Luke kills himself. Rey tries to strike him down. In that moment, Ben sees his opportunity. He force pulls the holocron. He now possesses holocron. He sees that this situation is fracked up. He's got to go.
Gets the heck out of there.
Gets the heck out of there. While he is in his X-Wing or whatever ship they have, I love the X-Wing. I also love the Delta 7. That's the original, you know what I mean? I'm talking about in the prequels. You know what I mean? They have the warp rings or the hyperdrive rings. I love them. So we have that. But we have this moment of he is... by the way, I'm literally playing off your stuff. I'm just adding a little more flavor.
Please do.
And the flavor is exactly this. He is trying to rectify what just happened. He just saw his master kill himself. And I think that's when he's going to start getting all this down. Nihilus is all about power. Power above all. I think he's going to tell him, he's like, he's going to get these emotions. Basically, it's almost like the Horcrux where they get like basically like it weighs on them. They get negative emotions and everything. I think he's going to somehow go, I'm distraught. I shouldn't open up this holocron. I remember my teachings from Luke. Luke always says, clear minds prevail, whatever he wants to say, right? Maybe there's a better one in there. But just calm down. When I'm in a better state, I'll read it. But I think that's when Nihilus is going to start pouring in.
Yeah.
Where he's going to go, you have to be more powerful. The only reason why your master failed is because he didn't have enough power. He didn't know how to contain it all. But he knows. You know what I mean? Like, do it. Yeah, literally. Yeah. And I think that's exactly it, right? Yep. So Nihilus actually was there's also this other guy named Crypt. He was like the dragon of the Sith. That's what they called him. He was a big collector of all holocrons. And he had Nihilus, and he had all these different holocrons all together. But I'm kind of diverging. The whole point is I really want there to be holocron scene. And I think Ben's going to experience all those holocron scenes. Because I feel like this is like the font of knowledge. Whether it's like the big three, maybe there's 3 holocrons there that he grabs or something. I don't know, but I think maybe we get multiple holocrons. Maybe just not just Nihilus is one, but I think it's going to open him up. Or Nihilus is going to point him to other holocrons, and it's going to lead him more down to a path where, much like we said in the beginning, hell is paved in good intentions. His good intention was figuring out what happened to Luke. And he goes, well, I need to gather power. How do I gather power? Holocron answers that question. So I know it's kind of away from Rey, but I think this is Ben's journey.
I like that as Ben's journey.
I feel like we just make him go on it. But I still think the temple's still in disarray.
That's what I was gonna say. To Sean's point, it's the who's taking up duties at the temple.
But he's gone for a while.
Is
it
Leia? Is it because they're all kids at the temple, right?
Yeah. Leia's politically.
But maybe this is why.
This is maybe what brings her back in.
Yeah.
Oh, and then we do a Leia-centric movie. That makes sense, yeah.
Well, she's got to split her time right now, so she's not...
Yep. And that's where things can slip in politically.
Yes.
She's distracted.
Yes. Yes.
Or she realizes that she's almost burning the candle on both ends, but both sides of the wick are like an inferno because now the temple's going like, Master Leia, what do we do?
Yep.
What happened to Luke? She doesn't know that information either, right? That's the other thing too. You only know based on what people are telling you. What's the probability of Rey coming back and saying the whole story? Mm-hmm. Low. Or she tells them a version of the story that she wants to hear. Or, sorry, that she wants to give them. Yeah. That's even worse, right? So,
but you're going to have Leia who knows. Leia's going to feel that riff.
Right.
Leia,
that's
twin.
right. That's her. Yeah, exactly. That's
Leia
that's
will
key.
know.
She knows exactly what happened.
I like that. We do
She's
have
the
one
only
person.
one who really knows what happened.
Yeah, we have one person who knows. Yeah. I really like that.
Yeah. And that's why.
But she doesn't know about that's her son.
She knows, or she feels. Let's not say she knows. She feels he's alive. That's it, though.
Maybe distraught. Maybe distraught, and maybe she's not. Yeah.
And
she's
and
looking at it like he's just the master died. I you know what I mean? It's his uncle. He's just feeling the loss of that. Yeah. He'll come back. Maybe he's doing the meditation techniques where he has to go out, rectify these problems. Yeah. So she's already wrote him off like he's okay. Yeah. He just needs to rectify these problems.
She knows she owes it to her brother to see this Jedi Temple thing through.
I think so.
It could be that's Leia's internal third riff. Is she's got the politics here, she's got the Jedi Temple here, and she's got Ben. She feels he's distraught. Yeah, it's the motherly instinct to worry. She's gonna worry, and after a while, especially if he's not back, she might be thinking, "I gotta go find him. I gotta send out a search party.
Yep.
I don't know what to do."
Or
he's just lost.
Yeah, we pull in another parallel. Someone brings up a vote of no confidence for Leia because they think she's too distracted.
She gets Valorumed?
She gets Valorumed in the Senate.
And who's going to lead that charge?
It's one of Rey's, I don't know, creatures.
Oh, I was just going to say Rey.
Or Rey. Oh, yeah. Rey's now a senator.
All right, now I'm playing Candyland. I was not there. No, I love that. Dang, I like where this is going. So, because 2's got to end on a lot of questions. I'm also not a huge, every single main character has to die. Like, people can just end their stories and not die.
I'm literally, that's what I'm sitting here struggling with. I'm like, I feel like in this movie it would have been the one Leia would have to die.
Yeah.
But I don't see how you do it.
Yeah, what do you do?
She doesn't have to die, but she gets removed from power in the Senate.
Well, I think the removal from power is there. I think also the other thing, too, is that there's got to end a scene. I'm all about the cinematics just in my head. You got to end the scene where everything's not going well politically because she's doing too much.
Yeah,
everything's not going well politically. The temple is in disarray because she was trained underneath Luke, but she doesn't have the. I'm not saying she's a lesser Jedi. She's not, but she doesn't have. She took a step back. Mm-hmm. She literally is it's kind of like if you took a step back from any job and you came back a year later. And you were the person then, but now it's everything updated, everything's different. There's a new knowledge base coming in. It's got to be tough. So I believe that she's,
We're bleeding right into my title for Star Wars 8.
I love it.
Okay, and I was just gonna say she was gonna go to Ben. My only shtick is so she has three barn burners, right? Three soaks in the fire. Politically, voted no confidence. Not great. Basically, she recognizes the fact that she's not the person for the temple, whether that's Ezra, Fulcrum, Ahsoka Tano, or someone else. Someone else is going to kind of take up the temple because she's going to go, wow, in this connection, right? The whole connection, I've basically, it's kind of a good family value, right? You can try to do everything you want, but at the end of the day, you have to figure out what's your cost, right? What's your cost equation? What do you do? Why do you do it? Is it your job? Is that where you put your thing? Do you put your things in faith, or do you put your things in family? Those are three valuable things. There's nothing wrong with any of them. And I think she's going to try to put equal weight in them. But eventually she's going to just get knocked down. And then she's going to finally realize, oh my gosh, the whole thing of this is family ties. I need to go to my son. And then she's going to go after her son.
Yes.
And then I think the only thing cinematically is that's when Ben's taking a really bad turn. But I think he's going to close the holocron and then the Sith eyes or something is going to happen.
Yeah.
Right when opens up and Leia's and then we end,
Yeah. So I like it. That the Senate's in turmoil because they don't have a leader. The Jedi Temple's in turmoil because they don't have a leader.
Yep.
The galaxy's afraid because there are no leaders.
A power vacuum's a scary place.
Which is why Star Wars 8, A Fallen Galaxy.
Oh.
Okay, I like that.
I like it.
everything's in disarray.
Yeah. Oh no,
like
1000%. I feel like that's what gets it is because your whole shtick is you got to have enough meat there for people to come into episode 3 and be excited about it.
Yep.
I think there's a lot of storylines that we need to wrap. Now here comes the hard part. We got to wrap them.
We got to wrap them.
We got to wrap
one
them.
more movie.
We got to wrap them in one more movie. I think we could do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think this one, we're trying to pick up the pieces. We know because you said Leia went off to try to help Ben, right? I think now Han is doing a lot of the work, not in the Senate, but like him and Lando are like trying to get old allies back together. They need to have some sort of unity, right? To like fight the crime syndicates, to do anything. This is where we can start to bring Han in and Lando, because why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
Because
and his pilot, I can't remember his. Trying to ask him about him, right?
Oh, Bib, something. Not Bib Fortuna.
Not Bib Fortuna, but it's. Sorry, I did that to you.
Yeah, but
Lando's.
You know what? Yeah.
I half thought you were talking about his droid that he has relations with.
Well, Donald Glover has relations with, yeah.
Nub.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. I love that guy.
And Chewie, of course. I don't know. I feel like
yeah, you got to bring him
Han
back.
can be part of the other, but like maybe he has a bigger role in this one. You know? And I also think it's kind of just cinematic justice for me because Harrison Ford's the one who doesn't want to be in the series the most. We just make him be in the longest. You know?
Yeah. I also think that's true. I think the other thing too is that we can also show what Han and Lando have been doing because basically Rey has been gathering. Basically, she is saying she doesn't want to do this whole First Order thing. She's going to the crime syndicates, or she wants to kind of go away from it. I think Lando and Han are the most of the New Republic in tune with those syndicates.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like this is what they're going to be doing in the background. I think they're going to have a lot of intel to bring to the New Republic to basically be like, what's going on?
At this point, their names carry the most weight, too. You know?
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah.
Yeah,
well, you could also argue when the vote of no confidence with Leia, that might also kind of Leia's counsel. You know what I mean? Those closest to her might get lost too. But sorry,
that's true. You're right.
You don't want to blow past it. And also all this stuff, we could probably do a full hour episode on every single story point. So if it seems like as a listener we're not closing things so neatly and everything. Well, one, we're not getting paid. Sorry, Sean. We're not paying you. Sorry. And two, this is just like. We're doing great on time, but this is just a 2-hour thing, so we definitely need to revisit this more. But
absolutely.
Sorry, just keep going. I also sometimes when I listen to podcasts and people don't like tie it so nicely, it's like okay, we're hauling this.
We're powering through. We're getting as much info out there and in this that would make a viewer stay interested and engaged and excited for the next one.
Exactly.
That you just want more.
Yeah.
And leaving things a little uncut leaves more questions, more expansiveness.
Exactly. And also, you might get a Clone Wars animation that talks way more in depth of everything we're talking about because we're going to hit the main story points and then maybe there's some filler. And also, we can talk about merch and everything. We'll write it in the deal, right?
We wanted all of this to still be able to build in spin-offs.
1000%.
That will answer all those questions. Right. And the spin-offs that we're already seeing.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, so I think, and literally there could be like the solo spinoff where we're only focused on their time dealing with all these syndicates and everything. And maybe we get more Rey in there, and maybe we get, there's so much more we can do.
Yeah.
Darth Maul's kind of still a thing, or I guess no,
he's dead, but we see remnants, we see his footprints, or not, his what he's left behind.
Fallout from when he was a leader of the syndicate.
Yeah, Crimson Dawn is still big deal. So sorry, I think we'll definitely have you back, Sean, and we'll definitely talk about all those spinoffs.
He runs into Kira, old Kira.
So I think if we but let's wrap up. Yeah, let's wrap up.
The main
9,
the sacred timeline.
Yeah. Those that once were. Yeah. So 9. So we were at a point where Han and Lando bringing in their information.
Yep.
Whether it's going to be accepted by the New Republic, we don't really know because there's vote of no confidence on Leia. There's a little bit of distance there because they're going to be kind of frustrated because they're not even political guys. They're going to kind of approach and be like, what are you guys talking about? I'm literally telling you that this is what's happening for whatever reason or whatever is happening, right? I don't know.
Well, and if Darth Nocturna has hands in the Senate at this point, anything that they bring in is going to be against her if she's the one using these syndicates. She's going to have a system to play it off that everything they're saying is either a lie or misconstrued or just not important.
So, sorry, one more point to bring in there, just adding a little bit more flavor. I think Darth Nocturna is the opposite of Plagueis and Palpatine. Whole point is Plagueis had the master idea. That's why I don't want to give Palpatine all the credit. But the whole point is Palpatine was all about execution, smooth execution. The only way to truly lead is to have total knowledge and total control. That was Palpatine's, by and large, his shtick. I think she goes opposite. I think hers is all about chaos. So it's less about like who she's necessarily controlling, but rather making sure that there's enough chaos that no rule actually gets established. I think that's her shtick.
Yeah.
And
So-
she can then go and do whatever she wants.
Whatever
in
and
the
whenever
background.
she wants.
Yep.
Exactly. Because she's not the figurehead. Other people are doing for her. So when you said like she has people, that's how I imagine. I'm like, no, her people are just the ones who are going to filibuster. It's going to be Pat Oswald from Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
And his gauntlet of the feared bounty hunter comes out of the Sarlacc pit. It's just filibusters on different Siths. Yeah, I think that'd be cool. Oh, shoot. That'd be funny. But yeah, sorry. That would be more or less like the people I think she has. I think she's just breeding all this discontent and chaos.
And she's going around to all the planets and being like, so Naboo was talking, they're going to attack you, or they have distrust.
The Gungans.
Yeah. Just sowing trust amongst all the systems in the galaxy. So
Correct.
no one trusts each other.
But she's getting this information, of course, peddled by the syndicates.
Yes.
So the syndicates are providing this information, or they're actually executing her stuff, which is causing the powers that be to do it. And that's, oh my gosh, that's where Han and Lando come in.
Yep.
Because they're just going, wow, the syndicates, even though they've never worked together, they're almost doing such a randomness that true random's actually like a pattern.
Yeah.
You know
it's
what I
like,
mean?
It's like organized randomness.
Yeah, it's organized randomness. It's like there's almost like that Rain Man principle where they're going like, but then Han and Lando have been around so long that they're the only ones who see the pattern. They're going at the cargo runs that are getting taken. They're going to the different, moisture farms that are getting attacked, and Naboo supply depots, whatever it might be. I think they're the only ones who see it, and I think that's when they get so frustrated because they're the only voice of reason in this political sphere because they're all trying to solve their own problems because this is going to happen across multiple systems. Every single system is going to fight for their own.
And neither of them are politicians.
And neither of them are politicians.
Right, and they hate it because the politicians aren't listening to them
Yeah.
when they are the real world people. They know what's going on.
But then also you get the comedic scene of them actually trying to
Yes.
say it.
Oh,
So
yes.
it's almost like
Yes.
in what do you call it? Always Sunny, Pepe Silva, where it's like they do all like the threads and everything, and he
Yes.
goes like crazy, Because
Yes.
I think Han, that's gonna be a comedic scene. They're gonna sound so crazy that no one's gonna believe them,
Yeah.
Yep.
or no one's gonna give them the chance.
Yep.
What happens from there? That's an interesting one. I like how we brought Han and Lando
So
in.
where
but what
do
do
we
do?
end up with Poe? Did Poe get back to the
So-
main group? Because I was thinking maybe Han and Lando take him under.
Shoot, we didn't resolve that. So we
said Poe left.
yeah, Poe
And Finn went with Rey, right?
Well, we were debating if Finn left or not. We didn't know.
I think either way it ends up, if he leaves or not, he ends up, the way we discussed it, no matter what, he ends up
He's
under
sympathizing.
Rey.
Yeah, he's sympathizing for sure. At a
So-
minimum, he's sympathizing.
Yeah, and I think it's safe to say he's there now. I mean, if it's the start of 9, like he either is just there and like, oh, hey, he came back like off scene, or we see him come back and that's one of the closures at the end of 8.
Okay.
Yep. Okay.
I like that. Yep.
And but Poe comes back.
Poe comes back.
Poe comes back.
and is either, I think, being tailed, has something to him that he's unaware of, so that she's got eyes, because he's a high up guy in the Republic, so she's got eyes there too.
BB-8 knows the ancient Sith language that C-3PO.
Maybe we haven't seen. Yeah.
We haven't had R2D2 or
That's true.
C-3PO.
Yeah.
And they're in there. I mean, that's understood, right?
Maybe,
Yeah, they're
maybe
in
we
there.
haven't seen Han or Lando yet, and Poe's getting tailed, and he thinks he's getting boarded, but he gets boarded by Lando and Han, who saved him. I don't know. Maybe that's just.
Oh, no, I like that.
I like
yeah.
that.
Or because they know the chain. They know the chain of reaction, so they know the next attack's going to be on some political body.
Yeah.
And then they all of a sudden on the radar, they get Poe's squawking, and they're going, whoa, that's an old X-Wing from whatever. Wait, this is probably it. And then so they're going to, because I think at that point when they see Lando they see Lando and
Hondo Ohnaka.
Be sick. When they see Lando and Han come up to Poe's ship, I feel like that's when the interceptor that was going to attack Poe leaves.
Yeah. We just see Millennium Falcon rise up.
Oh, that'd be so sick. Yeah.
Well, and with all this going on, no one's listening to Han and Lando. They're going to need someone political military to be their voice.
I think that's why they're going to go after
They
Poe.
can go after Poe, and they can be like, here's what's going on. Here's our story. Go get the Senate to believe it.
Yeah, I think there's going to be, because, you know, they always say, Poe, you're such a fly boy and everything like that, but it's like, yeah, but he's also was around and kind of knows his stuff. So, yeah, he might be quick to the draw, but given enough time and eloquence, I think he could do a really good job.
Oh, yeah.
And I think at this point, too, the world's not so black and white. I think it's a little bit gray for him. So I feel like having that scene of them explaining stuff and then him going out and then learning the ropes, because then once again, you have him learning the ropes. I mean, it's baptism by fire because there's literal fire going around him everywhere, but I feel like he could be the political masthead.
Yeah, and I think that within...
It'll shock the hell out of Leia because she's going to come back and be like, wait, Poe is leading this?
Yeah, and I think that he's going to be one of the only ones under Leia's administration. If, like, you know, you take her out of the picture, you take out a lot of her group, he's going to be one, because he's a military leader, still commanding respect.
Yeah, yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
I think you're right. They would like take out her cabinet, so to speak.
Yeah.
We don't know the whatever. What political groups you want to call it. But yeah, they're going to take out the political leaders.
Yep.
But you're right. They're going to show respect.
Yep.
He's been through battle. They'll show him that much respect at least. I like that. So now we have the political sphere somewhat ironing out relatively. We can probably talk more on that or put a stake in that. Where do you want to go next?
I think we got to move and close out what's going on with Ben and Rey. There's going to be a massive closure.
This is going to be the hardest one. Or not the hardest one. There's going to be a decision point. I don't know where we're going to go with it.
Yep.
But yeah, let's close it out. So we ended the scene last with Leia seeing Ben, Sith eyes, going to the holocron. I'm going to say Ben has been internalizing and struggling this whole time. Now, granted, this might not be the most... By the way, if you notice, I'm trying to step away from the action scenes, explosion, and blah, 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 because I really don't think it needs it. Complexity characters just breeds really good storytelling. So Ben has been struggling internally, and we can show a lot of cool scenes with that, a lot of Sith stuff, philosophy of the Sith. We want to have that to be actually a whole episode one of these days. We'll talk about it in a second. Maybe we can bring that back in. Whole shtick is, though, I think that's when he goes to Leia, and he's not, like, once again, he's at training, so he's not fully dark side yet, but he's definitely leaning that way. But he's still just going to hear out his mother. It's not like he's going to immediately attack or anything. I think this is where we get clarity. And we're going to see still more distance build up between Leia and Ben, because Leia's going to go, oh my gosh, no, like, sweetheart, you misread this.
You're right.
This is not what happened. This is what happened. And then he's going to go, once again, it's kind of one of those rectifying things where you're getting two different points of information. Because he's going to go, no,
I know what I saw.
I know what I saw, and I'm getting emphasized by all this knowledge.
And he's very angry when he's saying this.
He's very angry when he
He's
says it.
feeling the...
Oh yeah, he's enraged. This is going to be, we're putting the actor through the paces here, but yeah, he's going to be enraged. And I think this is when Leia's got to figure out what to do to calm the son, or to give him a piece of information or something that will somewhat ease his stress. Whether it's like, hey, you've had enough time on this holocron, we need to take it away from you, and is that going to be a breaking point? Right? I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out, how do we resolve this with Leia, or is it the fact that it's not resolved, and then he goes seeks out Rey? Because I feel like that's the thing.
Does he have to fight Leia? Do we see Leia and him fight?
I just don't want him to kill Leia. I don't like how that, because I don't want to breed another Sith that way. I mean, right?
I think they're gonna mother-son fight. Like, she's gonna come to
not
be
now,
him.
Mom.
Exactly. Like, you know, he's a teenager.
I mean, there's gonna be angst there.
Yeah. So she's gonna come with reason and clarity. He's gonna say no.
It's emotions. Yeah.
It's emotions, and he storms off, and, you know, Mom's chasing him around again. Whatever. I don't think they're gonna fight.
No, I don't think it would be good. Yeah.
One thing I want to take, because you said you want more holocrons. I want all the holocrons.
Oh, 1,000%.
So
yeah.
Either I want it to be that Leia gives him this bit of knowledge, or he can already know it from Luke. He needs to, I think inherently his mind is, I need to defeat Rey. I need to avenge my master.
I think Nihilus is feeding him this
feeding him
information.
that. And
exactly.
what that's telling him to is, you need more power, you need more knowledge. What is more powerful than one holocron is when you put two together. And you get the ultimate knowledge. You get to ask it any question. and you get the knowledge. He's going to go... I think this is where they go back to the temple. He either is in his angst
We get
or...
like the exegol moment. Or, you mean back the
Jedi temple.
Oh,
Because there's
okay.
probably
Because
other
he knows
holocrons.
there's other holocrons there.
Oh, without doubt.
So he's got
maybe
this...
that was the one teaching Luke. Oh my gosh, that's your apple of Eden.
Yeah.
That's the apple of Eden.
Yeah.
Literally the forbidden knowledge. Luke was like, "Hey, we believe in all of these things," but it I don't know. It's easy mode if you combine them and blah. You know what I mean? There's some philosophy where it's like we do all these things, but the one thing we will never do is combine them.
Yep.
It's too dangerous.
We collect them, we preserve them, but we don't use them.
Yeah, I think more or less, yes. I think the philosophy is it's like no shoes, no shirt, no service, but rather it's more or less like you are inherently susceptible, whether you are leaning more dark, leaning more light, doesn't really matter. But if you do not come with it as a true gray Jedi, that holocron's answer will throw you one way or the other, whether you like it or not.
Yep.
I think that's why it's like it's too dangerous. It's more or less like, yeah, I like the whole apple of Eden thing where this is way too dangerous.
I think he does it.
Oh, I think absolutely.
So
I think absolutely.
I think this is how...
But I just want to make it so like no one else has done this.
Yeah.
Right? I want to make it so like audiences look at this and go, "Why didn't they do that in episode 1?" It's like no, that or at movie 1. I think that's like the shtick, right?
Yeah.
There's a rule there. There's a barrier.
I'm thinking we can play this. Leia finds him, sees the turmoil he's having, says, "You need to come back. You need to be surrounded by what grounds you."
Yeah.
Which is the temple, the other Jedi. He needs that light. And in either in the back of his mind, he's seeing it the whole time, or he gets there and thinks, I still have this holocron. Or maybe Leia took it and he steals it back. And he goes and finds the strongest Jedi one he can find. Because he's like, if I have the strongest Sith one, I need a strong Jedi one to go with it.
Yeah.
And that's what he combines.
What if Leia doesn't even know he has the holocron? So when she sees him, he's meditating, and the holocron's open. But then right when she says, "Ben," closes it, and then that's when he turns, and then his eyes are like transitioning back.
Yep.
She saw that transition though, but doesn't like the whole holocron thing's not there. I think the other cool fight thing is I think what we should do is the temple. You have the temple, right? And that inherently is where the students are.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's some repository where they put the light side of the holocrons, and a planet that is focal to the light side. Okay. And they put the dark side that's focal to the dark side on 2 different planets. But they know in your heart of hearts, if you approach it with, more hate, more whatever, then the Jedi Sentinels, if there's Jedi Sentinels, I'm just trying to bring back yellow lightsabers.
Yeah.
You get the Sentinels to come in there, and maybe there's a fight sequence. This is just so we have a little bit more action instead of political stuff. But maybe that is, I don't know, I'm just trying to spit something out there just to get a little bit more fighty fight, because I don't want him to fight Leia.
Yeah.
But there's something that's got to be in his way to stop him from doing it.
I like that. He's got to go. I mean, you can even have it at the temple. Like, all the holocrons are kept under lock and key, guarded. So you could have to go to a planet or something. He's going to have to fight his way in to get them.
Yeah, but I want him to fight like red shirt Star Trek people, right? People are expendable. Meaning, like, I don't want him to go full dark. So I'm thinking more or less like those Jedi Sentinels. I know typically they're people, but at the same time too, if we kind of
they
what
could
if
be
they're
droids,
like homunculi, or something, or droids, something. I like that a little bit better, just so it doesn't seem so
dark.
Yes, I don't want him to go full dark.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm trying to avoid. That's why I don't want the fight with Leia. That's why I don't want him to fight other students. I kind of want him to stay emotionally bad, but not be so where it perpetuates another Sith, or he does something so irrevocably. Because I think if he kills somebody, they're gonna be like, "Dude, you gotta get out of here."
I think we gotta get him close, and then
you gotta get him real
and
close.
then
that's when the Sentinels.
And then
Rey is gonna prey on that.
Yeah,
1000%.
And then at the end, he comes back because Luke comes as a Force ghost
right before he puts the holocrons together.
Yes.
I thought we said Luke couldn't come back as a Force ghost.
So that's what, dude. That was okay. I really like where we're at. We just need to out nerd this.
Then we do Anakin.
We need to out nerd this. Yes, we either do Anakin or we figure out something with Luke.
Because Luke hasn't done the training.
Yes, he has.
Oh no, we're saying Luke did the training. The reason why he doesn't because Palpatine's spirit gets into him,
yeah,
and it basically mars him so much so that he can't. Yeah, it's kind of like the whole eternal salvation, whatever. But so canonically, all right, Anakin does have it. I think Anakin would be good. I think Luke, because he's never interacted with Ben Solo, and this is his grandfather. I think Anakin's a perfect choice.
Yeah.
I think having Anakin there, Hayden Christensen, of course, right? That'd be sick.
Absolutely.
I think having him there,
Jake Lloyd.
and just
Jake
oh,
Lloyd,
yeah,
yeah.
free him, dude, free my boy.
Yeah.
I think he might still be in prison. I don't know, but he was in prison for a long time.
I know he was.
It's
Yeah.
crazy. But no, I feel like if we bring Anakin here, then it goes full circle. Because also, I'm nervous about bringing in like all these big people because you don't want like them go, oh, this is just fan service. It's like no. You bring him in, and Anakin literally explains. Maybe as a Force ghost, he gets all of his knowledge back when he was in the with the. You know, the brother, sister, and the father, when they literally show him he's going to be Darth Vader, and they're like, all right, well, wipe your mind. All right, see you good. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to do this, but hey, you're good. Wipes his mind.
It's perfect because Anakin went dark but came back.
Exactly. So I think this is when he just exposes it all, right? I feel like this is where he's like, almost like the classic, like Dumbledore, Harry Potter at the train station, like, take a walk with me.
Yep.
Let's just talk this out. And I feel like this is where we're getting... Ben is a perfect vehicle for understanding the Force more. That's why I really like Ben's character. There's not much going on politically. He's not really attacking that many people. But he's such a good conduit of figuring what's this out. So maybe it's less of the chosen one, but more or less like the Force is inherently just the choices you make and the balance of those choices. And I think maybe that's when Anakin is explaining that to him, going, oh my gosh, look at the whole, like you are going down the literal path I went down. It's the same thing as me. I was getting manipulated by Palpatine. You're also getting manipulated by Palpatine. Rey Palpatine. But you're also getting manipulated by Palpatine. And I think it's this weird understanding where, oddly enough, the history book prevented the history to repeat himself. And that history book is Anakin. I feel like that's a good explanation. It's not fan service. I feel it's rooted in really good logic.
Yeah.
I think
really
it
like
works.
whoever brought up the Anakin today. I know who did it. Brilliant. I love it.
You're welcome.
Good.
You're welcome.
Mark Grayson. Oh, by the way, happy birthday to Mark. It's Mark's birthday today. I probably should have mentioned that earlier on, but yeah, sorry about that, Mark. But
there's nothing I'd rather be doing on my birthday.
But no, you're giving us gifts because that was good. I love it. So, I think we end Ben's character. Oh well, okay. So how do we? Anakin comes. I think he sees what's going on.
So to pull on that thread, because we were talking about the manipulation, I think we need to have those scenes that we saw Rey and Kylo have, right? But they're kind of flipped. Like Rey and Ben are having these scenes. Like Rey's trying to convince him to come over. Because otherwise, how is he being manipulated by the Palpatine, right? We need to see.
I thought he was being manipulated by the holocron.
He was sorry. Let me revoke that. My bad. He is getting manipulated by Nihilus, the holocron. So it really wasn't Palpatine. I said by the same Palpatine than Rey. My bad. That was on a previous thought. But yeah, no, he's getting manipulated by the holocron.
Yes.
But same logic. You're getting manipulated. It's a Jedi story
by the dark
Jedi
side,
yeah.
right? You're being seduced by the dark side of the Force.
Yeah, but I think this is where Ben, much like Luke, gets some solution on the Rey thing. Like, I don't know. We have to combine him with Rey because there's no other equal in the thing. How do we solve the problem? Yeah. And does Anakin give him the advice of it, or does he more or less talk him off the ledge? And now Ben kind of has to rebuild himself in understanding. But within that rebuilding, he understands what to do with Rey. Right? Do we give him the silver bullet that Anakin literally goes, hey, cock this in your gun and shoot it? Or does he basically just say, hey, just take a step back, do what you're going to do. But as you take a step back, just really reflect on what made you, what makes the Force you, all your choices up to this point, your family connections, your everything. Because it's all about, once again, we're showing the Force it's both Jedi and Sith, right? It's all about your connections, but it's about the choices that you make with those connections and how you're balancing everything. And I feel like it's within that mental state, whatever he's doing with Anakin, I feel like that's when he himself internalizes a solution that he's then going to go invoke on Rey.
Yes.
I feel like that's where we're at.
Yep.
Is that cool?
I
can kind of hand wave it a little bit with a very eloquent saying, just because I don't know what he would say. I don't know what the solution is, but I'm just hand waving it.
Yeah. Yep.
Breakpoint, star that. We need to put something there. I don't know.
He gets his clarity. He still has his emotions, but he's been learning how to wield those to his strengths. He now knows, okay, I'm in my clarity, and he goes and sets on his mission.
Yep. And here we are.
Yeah.
I think he's good. I think he's going to go right for it.
He's going to take Rey and
we saw Finn to deal with.
I know, that's what I was right when you said, I was like,
storyline.
golly. Okay. This is a lot of fun. By the way, if I can do this every single day of my life, golly, dude.
This is good.
Dude, not enough hours in the week.
Bad day to be computer science. I would leave it, And I could maybe, I don't know, one day be a writer, but I would love to do this stuff. Oh, I live for this. I've had just this adrenaline rush this whole time. I freaking love this stuff.
So we're gonna So we got to figure out Rey and Finn. But with Ben emotionally resolved, Leia feels confident to come back, right? And she comes back to the Senate saying, "I'm here to give 100% time." Right? She's no longer conflicted to help the other crew while Ben goes after Rey and Finn.
But she sees Poe doing his stuff.
Yeah. Oh, so does Leia go with Ben? I mean, you're gonna need two.
I think
this is when we see Leia fight.
Yes, yeah. I think we do need to see Leia fight, but I also believe that. Well, here's the only reason why I say politically is she got the vote of no confidence.
That's true.
It's
So there's
really
no
hard to come back from
Yeah.
that. And if she did come back politically, she should also be kind of keen enough to look at Poe and be like, okay, this flyboy's got some chops, kind of deal.
Yeah.
And we'll leave it to him. And it's kind of this weird thing because also the people you'd never suspect actually leading the New Republic is the three people that were arguably the least interested.
Correct.
Mando and
Which is kind
Han
of
Solo.
yeah.
It's just like the perfect leader is one who doesn't want it kind of deal because they'll respect the power and they won't get manipulated by it and everything like that. I think that's perfect. Question is that what do we do with Leia? Because she resolves Ben. Here's a question: does she go with them to this whole Rey and Finn, and just Finn now?
Let's flesh out Rey and Finn and see what happens there, and then I think that would help us.
And then we
decide
figure out what's going on.
If Leia's coming. Or not.
Okay.
So, so we left. They're together. We said that, right?
Yep.
They are spreading
chaos
and distrust, but among the galaxy,
under the guise of of course, like they're doing the right thing, right?
But they must have a. They're doing something else, right? That's not their main.
No, I wouldn't think so. I think what they're probably doing is doing exactly what we're doing now. They're like trying to focus on how to rebuild a world. Yeah, like it's kind of like how do you rebuild a world, right? We have a blank slate. And as long as we keep these powers at bay with all this chaos, we can continue planning. And then once we find our perfect opportunity, we can institute this plan. Does that sound like, I don't know.
I think what Mark was hinting at is, do they have some deep underlying final order, like you had in...
Yeah, I think probably, right? I mean,
I don't know if it's... We don't want to make it the same as
here's the thing, it's not going to be a freaking Death Star. I can assure you that.
Yeah.
It's not going to be any
a
massive...
random planet just full of armies upon armies of...
No more planet destroyers. It's not... Doesn't have to be nukes. The problem is not... Or the solution's not always nukes. But I do believe that that's what makes it so enticing, though. I think that's why, because you can't look at them like they're villains. Like, I want people to walk away and actually have a discussion in their cars, whether it's a significant other, a friend, or they're going to freaking, Chili's. I don't care. And they're, sharing it over queso. The whole point is that I want them to go into their cars and actually have a real discussion about this. Are they really doing the right thing? Like, that's the most convincing villain. I love when that happens. Whether it's someone who is morally great, I think that's the whole shtick. That the fact that they're trying to solve this with no weapons. They're just trying to rebuild a world that they see fit.
Yeah.
And it's not one... I mean, I really think that there should be... Whether we don't have to list the points out, I really believe that they have to have really solid points, and how they're going about it is in actually a morally just way. So in a weird way, this evil person that we've been believing this whole time actually has a really good execution path. And so it makes everything tougher. Because that also... bleeds Finn in, right?
Right.
Because Finn's not morally bad.
Right.
And I don't think Rey's really trying to be. I think they're just trying to solve this overall problem, right? And I think that's what's kind of enticing them. And that's why, because I want to keep Finn a devoted fan of Rey, or a devoted follower. So if Rey starts doing something weird, he's not going to kind of believe it. So now here's the question. How does that bleed in with this fight?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think you have to keep Finn on the edge, though.
You're right.
Because he is, he's been morally compromised this whole time.
Small concessions.
Yeah. So I think, he believes that they need to rebuild in a way that is making sense what Rey's spewing.
Yeah.
But he's still morally compromised on either the execution or a final plan or something.
Maybe he's just like the whole chaos of it. Because that's also not getting solved. Like, there is legitimate problems out there, and maybe at first the syndicates were just attacking like supply ships, and they're only attacking it's kind of like the Robin Hood, with the whole they're only attacking the rich and everything like that. But then just recently, there's been small enough concessions where, in order to keep the chaos not at bay but actually at large, they've had to do more significant things. So maybe that's getting morally gray. But still, the end goal is still good enough, so he's conceding a little bit.
Right.
I think you're right. Yeah, that sounds good. I just want their end goal to be good in some way. I think that's what, or like the
perceived.
Yes.
good.
This is all perception. Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, perception. Not truth, perception.
But there has to be the most epic lightsaber battle, I think, at the end of this
Oh,
episode.
yeah.
Right.
Oh, I wanted to
I
be
think Leia does come because it's gonna bleed into the title that I came up. So let's just bring Leia along.
I love how
All
Mark.
right?
I love how you just wait for us to talk, and then you're looking at the title, just knowing that eventually we'll give enough breadcrumbs for it.
Yeah,
I love
it's
it.
perfect.
I absolutely
It's
love
great.
it.
All right, so Leia's there, right? So it's Leia and Ben.
And Finn
yeah.
and Dark Nocturne.
They come to a head somehow. I don't know how it is, but it's going to culminate into a huge lightsaber fight.
Yeah, maybe it's like Han solved the problem, and they know where the next they know where the next attack is going to be, and they
Han and Lando are still cooking in the background.
yeah. So that's their intel. You have to have some intel, right? Yeah. Sorry, continue. I just wanted to make it believable.
I like it. I like it. Do we want to flesh out what makes them come to a head? Right? Does Ben just confront them for killing Luke? Does he try to convince them both to come to the light side? And Rey just attacks? Or
Yeah, that's what we were just talking about. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
What do you do?
Is there some, big final sequence that Han and Lando are predicting that she's gonna do? Like this is her moment, and it's like you need to be here to stop it.
Oh,
And then in that you have
I like
to,
that. Yep.
I think you
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
have the Ben pull the Luke. You don't have to do this. There's good in you, and this is really retching on Finn, and maybe it's not working on Rey as much, but it's pulling on Finn, and there's turmoil within their ranks and just in the whole group.
Yeah, so, okay, I love it. I absolutely love it. Because I think here's the thing. Here's the buildup. Lando, Han, and Poe are doing such a good job that in order to keep chaos, they have to do more and more things that are going to, literally what you said, come to a head.
Yep.
There's going to be some fight going on. Ben pulls the Luke, because that's what got Darth Vader, right, to Anakin. Pulls the Luke. Rey's not behind it.
Nope.
Rey actually goes to strike him down. But at the last minute, a new lightsaber ignites. Finn's lightsaber protects Ben, because basically he's like, whoa, we said there's going to be no fight. Like,
yeah.
I'm walking here. Kind of, I don't know why I went you went there. Like, I'm walking here. Yeah, sorry. But no, he's like,
You said we weren't going to hurt anybody.
You said we weren't going to hurt anybody. And but by the way, inherently, he's not necessarily blocking Ben. Like, you know what I mean? He's just saying, whoa.
You're taking a step too far.
Yeah. Whoa, we were just attacking supply depots. This is way too. And I think maybe that's when we get this big, long explanation of like, you thought we were just attacking supply depots? We were doing, maybe that's where
he's seeing her true colors. He's seeing the Sith side of her come out, not the political
exactly
chaos side.
Yeah, which chaos and the sake of good. Now this is just pure. Oh wait, there's actually horrible motives behind this.
Yes.
Because I think, a good goal with two different motivations behind it, good motivations for bad motivation, I think that's just such a good story. So that's perfect. I think that at that moment, I think that's when Rey kind of goes hard in the paint. Now, granted, she probably didn't teach Finn everything.
Right.
So he's going to be kind of lackluster. I think that's when Leia's going to force push him out of the way, and then they're going to go ahead.
I really want to see a good Leia fight. That's what I want.
And you know what the best part is? I want not like beat for beat or anything, but I want this to rival
Yoda and Palpatine's fight?
No.
Obi-Wan
and Anakin's. I don't know why. Revenge of the Sith. I couldn't remember Revenge of the Sith. That's really bad on me. But we talked so much.
They're both in Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
So.
But I want Revenge of the Sith level. And you know what the best part is? It is Leia and Rey at their primes.
Yeah.
Going ham. And what's even better, Rey finally pulls off that lightsaber, that butterfly knife. You know what I mean? The little, the shing.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And we get choreographic like on the skill of that, and like Ray Park, by the way, they're consultants. they're coming in for this lightsaber fight.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
bringing in everybody,
Yeah,
right?
Ewan
Everybody.
McGregor and Hayden Christensen there because that was all like most of their stuff was real. I mean,
Yeah.
it was them,
Yeah.
not any actors, right?
Exactly. And I want them to consult. I just want this to be the fight. I want it to be like a Count Dooku choreographed dance. Like, this is literally a dance. That'd be so cool.
And then
But here's the thing.
they zoom
What
out, you just see them.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think we pull on the threads of early Revenge of the Sith. Rey gets a leg up. So
The high ground.
I'm going to take a step back. Let's say Leia disarms Rey. She loses her really cool lightsaber, flies off. She panics, and all of her rage gets a massive force push.
Can we go Force Lightning just because it's a...
We can do force lightning.
I just like the Sith
I
aspect.
think so.
I like the Sith aspect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It catches Leia off guard, and she blasts into a wall. You know, like in Revenge of the Sith when they're fighting Dooku, pulls the shelf down on her, or the balcony.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
Obi-Wan.
She's the
basically.
Obi-Wan.
Yeah. She's ragdolling.
Yeah.
So she's down for the count.
She's also not in her prime anymore. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Finn recognizes this. He's still there. He's alive. He gets her out.
And says, "Oh, now Ben is."
Ben
so
has
now
to
it's
take
Ben because the final fight
Has to be them.
has to be these two.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
And here is what
Well,
I
let's still
want to
get some
see.
good fights in there.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not. It's not like Obi-Wan. Literally, he had like 3 swings. And
Yeah.
then gets
No,
wrecked.
no, like,
no
they're
way.
going.
Yeah. I want it to be like almost absurdly long
Oh,
fights.
yeah. What I want to happen is Rey's lightsaber's gone, and she pulls out Luke's.
Because she killed. Well, she was there when
She
he
was
died.
there, and Ben
She
dipped.
picks it up. Okay.
She picked it up.
Or
But
she,
it's
or
also-
she's got both. She's got
Or
Luke
she's got
and
both.
Palpatine's.
Or
Ooh.
oh dang,
Green and
dude.
red.
Yeah. I was about to say it's also a green lightsaber. We're not. Yeah, not New Hope. Yeah.
No.
yeah.
His green lightsaber.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, because that was like whole.
Because
point of
that's
that
going to be
Guardian.
a mind
bender.
bender
Oh,
on
yeah.
Ben.
Because I think Ben's
Oh,
got
yeah, saved me there,
Anakin's.
sorry. What?
You would think Ben would have Anakin's, right?
Or his own.
Or his own, yeah. But
We
it's
can
blue.
always bring
I
back
think Ben's is probably
Anakin's.
blue, though, right?
Oh,
I
without a
think
doubt.
he'd be
He's a
blue.
guardian. He's
Yeah.
a guardian. Yeah. You can also argue maybe all theirs turn gray because technically they're all gray Jedi, but we can.
I
yeah,
think it's
we
blue.
can. We can.
No,
touch that
there's
later.
only one purple one, all right?
Yeah, it's a no.
Which is the blend, right?
Yeah,
So-
yeah. Yeah, maybe they're all purple. Yeah.
But I think that just messes with his head so much, too.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just have this epic fight. And, the whole, that belongs to me. We still get that. And,
'Cause that's Luke's. Yeah.
it was Luke's.
So I think at one point though, he saw his lightsaber. I think it would be cool though if his lightsaber goes whatever. Like the fight gets so intense that
Like
like
he's got to use Luke's or
yeah,
something.
he's got to use Luke's and now it's a backwards, or he uses Palpatine, she uses Luke's.
Yeah,
you know what I
switch
mean?
it
Like
up.
some kind of
yeah.
like because at the end of the day, I think that's why like Dave Filoni, our Lord and Savior, said it best, where he was just like the duel of fates. Like this was about the fate of Anakin. This has nothing to do with this really cool lightsaber fight. Like all this has to do with that. I love when lightsaber fights have so much more of a meaning than just I'm just all out battling.
Yep.
Right.
I think
agree.
that's the meaning. And if we can do as much like juxtaposition as we can to make
Yep.
it more conflict, so he gets Palpatine's, she gets Luke's, and now that's even more like now they're fighting with each other's master's blades.
Yep.
And ironically, what Luke thought he was ending in movie 1 is now kind of rekindled in movie 3. We need a resolution. And so what happens at the end of that fight? Because here's the thing, they can't just put away and be like the Naruto when the Rasengan doesn't work. They're like, I know you. Stop attacking the village, man. Like.
You could, I think you could take it a couple ways. You could Return of the Jedi it. I think he still has to do one more pull to say, you don't have to do this. He gets one last one in.
He's got to. Yeah. But here's the thing, though. Like,
What if she doesn't? Does she? Does she not?
yeah.
How do we end this?
So I was thinking maybe. Well, see, here's the thing. Anything you do that kind of ends in a death kind of leaves, I don't know. Like, can he kill her technically and still maintain being a great Jedi? I thought maybe he has some, maybe he doesn't even realize it, but there's some, like, power within him that's... So, yeah, you're right. There's some power within him that he got from Darth Nihilus' holocron that maybe escapes out, and that kills her. Or even more so on that, I know there's a one fan edit where, like, Rey's like, well, I'm all the Jedi, and she pushes him back, and you see all the Force ghosts and everything. there could be that kind of moment. It was a little Harry Potter-esque for my taste, because like that's what happened with Prior and Cantardum when like Harry and he's just, oh, let go, Harry. Like, I appreciate that fact. I don't want to be too regurgitated there, but I think maybe there is something there where Anakin or some other Force Ghost comes in, or I don't know.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
Like,
yeah, so I think they're both of equal skill, Rey and Ben.
Yep.
He can't defeat him on his own. Leia's incapacitated. Finn's gone, or like Finn's saved her. I think we're gonna need that. I think we're gonna need the little bit of fan service that we do get the Force Ghost. We get, and this is where
there's got to be a catalyst.
I think you get Anakin. I think you get Obi-Wan. I think you get Qui-Gon. And they are saying, we will help you do this, but you have to stick to your ways and like not kill her, kind of thing, or something along that line. And then they use imbue their Force will into him.
Only Grey Jedi, though. What if we only do Grey Jedi?
So Qui-Gon and Mace Windu?
No. Qui-Gon, Mace Windu, and for the heck of it, let's just throw Ahsoka Tano. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think, I don't know.
I kind of like that.
We already did Anakin. Anakin's done.
Yeah.
Right? I think Anakin, we've already done that fan service. It was check the box. I don't want to bring it back. Obi-Wan, as much as I would absolutely love to have him here, that was kind of his. He already did 4, 5, 6. He's kind of he's good.
Yeah.
I know we want Ewan McGregor to come in. I think that's my head.
Yeah.
I really want him to be in. But if we do Grey Jedi, I think that would be good. Because I think inherently too, Obi-Wan and Anakin they were power-wise like equal. The only reason why Anakin lost was he was just way overconfident, and that's the whole high ground thing. I think they're going to be equal, but there is no overconfidence. But it's just the connections that's going to bring it back, but not the Jedi connections. It's going to be the Grey Jedi connections.
Yes, I like that.
I think that's where we're cooking.
Yeah.
But then do we then double down and have Sith come back? Well, they didn't do the Sith Ghost, so
I was going to say, because they have to go through that training that Sith don't do, right?
Well,
so
Sith only do holocrons. They don't do that, which is the reason why I'm like thinking maybe not. But that's what I'm thinking. Maybe there's cinematic where he still has the holocron of Nihilus in the back of his pocket.
I'm thinking
and so that
pulls in.
And so now we have Qui-Gon, Mace Windu, and the Grey Jedi. And then all of a sudden we have this overwhelming urge of the Sith with the knowledge of Nihilus, Bane, all these other ones. And so they're not necessarily Force ghosts, but now it's coming to a head.
Yep.
And then we just cut to black, never resolve it, and then we walk out. Everything's good. Then it's just
everyone's so angry.
Yeah.
Everyone's so
angry with us.
No,
and we're fired.
We did a good 2 hours of this, and then now we're done. Yeah. It's gonna be like Game of Thrones season 9. So no. So how do we resolve this? I do think it would be really cool cinematically. She like notices a holocron, force pulls it in, goes through there. Do we bring Finn back? No, I think he just takes Leia out. I think we just let Finn rock and roll. I think Finn has, once again, I feel like we haven't done enough service. If we had more time, I would flesh out his character more. But I think we end it. I don't think he comes back.
I could get real cheesy here. We could be like, so she has the Sith, right? And we see the Grey Jedi, we see 3 Sith, it's still equal. And Rey's like, you'll never overpower whatever Jedi you bring back, I'll bring back a Sith.
Yeah, we are truly equals.
She goes, we are the Sith, who are you? And he goes, I'm Ben Skywalker. Boom. And like he just gets like a burst of energy and like takes over.
And goes through.
Solo.
Well, that's the shtick. He's a Skywalker.
He pulls a Rey.
Yeah.
or maybe it's a Dormammu and Doctor Strange. We will eternally be locked in this battle.
Yep.
Like, we are eternally locked in this battle. I am protecting not the Jedi, but the Force itself. As the Grey Jedis, I am inherently protecting the Force. That's what Ben Solo's bringing to the table. Therefore, it is out of my obligation. I will fight until the end of my days for you not to gain a single inch. She has the background of all Sith. The Sith will continue to fight, same problem, until they gain an inch. I think they're locked in a battle. It's just a question of, will they just both recognize that this is the battle that they're constantly in?
We could have them both die.
And maybe that's actually it. Maybe
and like a force struggle, like how you see Luke. Like they're both pulling so hard on these force strings.
Mm-hmm. And it breaks.
It crumbles everything around them. It crumbles them.
It breaks the holocron.
Holocron breaks.
Holocron's got to break.
And it just explodes.
Yeah. I think as this fight sequence happens too, the green of Luke's lightsaber goes gray. So we're not bleeding that crystal. We're actually losing.
We're draining.
I think that'd be cool. As the fight progresses, it just continually gets more of a hue of gray. I like that more. Mm-hmm. And then Rey, well, she has Palpatine's lightsaber, but yeah, I feel like the holocron glows, so we get gray, then glow, and then I think it does come to a head. I think
if you do that, you do some big Force moment.
Yeah.
And you can assume what you want to assume from there.
That's why I'm almost at a point where
I just think you need a pinnacle moment that gives the like an Inception. You have the top.
Yeah.
You need something to feed into it. It can't just be over. So if you have a big pinnacle moment, explosion, crumple, whatever, fade to black, done.
And then I turned the page on the storybook and said, "Good night, son." Close the book. No, but I do think that kind of pinnacle is going to be good. Because here's the thing. I love the pinnacle. I just don't want it to fade to black. Now that there's not much going on, there's no more chaos.
Yeah.
I think we need to shine through the growth of a society. Because at some point, here's the thing. We just have to look at ourselves in the face and say, hey, we can keep trying to leave breadcrumbs for 10, 11, 12,
yeah.
13, whatever. We, at some point, as lovers of this, we have to say, okay, I think this is good. We have resolved this 1,000 century years conflict into a point where now we can look at it. Doesn't mean we can stop with this IP. There's still probably more to fill in the gaps. There's more things we can go on. But at least what would be really beneficial is we have some resolution, right? Aragorn gets the crown. Aragorn, sorry. Aragorn, I do that every time. Jeez, I'm reading Aragorn, that's why. But I said that to Sean. But so Aragorn gets his crown, right? The Shire comes back. It's I think we need that moment of clarity and peace. I think maybe that pinnacle happens. I think they both die in it.
I was going to say, I think they both die.
They have to die. I think like there's some inherent implosion, maybe when the final of Luke's lightsaber goes gray. And then finally, the brightness of the red almost gets too much to bear. And then it almost looks like that the red's overtaking. There's just an explode. You know what I mean? Something happens.
Oh, you're on Avatar: The Last Airbender-esque.
Oh, yeah.
Aang almost gets red, right? Or
yeah, I love that.
I like, yeah.
But maybe not so much like that. But I'm just saying, like, that's when you know that they're finally at their pinnacle, right? Ben has eked out all the power of the Gray Jedi. Rey has eked out all the power of the Red Jedi. Red Jedi. All the Sith. They are getting to such a point where, at this point, this is unstoppable force, immovable object, implosion.
Yep. Ooh, what if you did it like when they smash? Was that episode 8? Originally, when they smash the ships together, and it's just the spark of light.
Oh,
Boom.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah,
Going
when they
through
did that
the ship.
stupid. Yeah, when they did
Hold
the
on,
hyper
hold
jump. Yeah,
But yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But
for a second, I was like, when did they smash through a ship?
Yeah,
I was
the
like,
hyper jump.
oh, okay, yeah.
And so
it goes
you have
all
that.
silent.
It goes all silent, and you see,
Yeah.
it's just massive energy burst there.
Yeah.
And I don't think, here's the other thing, too. I don't want them on, like, a dreadnought. I don't want them on a planet.
No.
I think she's just on her, like, interceptor. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I think
it's something simple.
Yeah. I mean, you need something for somewhat of a really cool battleground, but I also feel like this is like a cargo hauler that they're doing a bunch of like this was the cargo hauler they were going to take, or maybe this is a cargo hauler that has all the I don't know. It's something. I just don't want it to be once again this huge like explosion or whatever. It needs to. I don't want to have tens of thousands of casualties on this.
No,
it
it's
should
got to be like
just be the
their
two.
ships.
Yeah.
Small, simple.
Yeah.
Boom, done.
Yeah.
I
And
love
it
that.
explodes, right?
But then you also see it fully explode. There is no question.
Oh, no, yeah.
I feel like that's another thing too where I want it on a ship and not a planet.
But
Because
you
you see
see-
an explosion, you're like, oh, are they alive? Yeah.
Well, we know Finn and Leia make it off.
Yeah. Oh, Finn and Leia make it off for sure, without a doubt.
I think they go back, right? And
I think
Leia's done. Her and Han are retiring, and they leave the new Republic in the hands of Poe and Finn to rebuild.
I think Finn becomes the leader of the Jedi Temple,
And Poe is leader in the Senate.
and Poe's
And
leader
they
in
work
the Senate.
very closely hand in hand.
And they work hand in hand. Where they're no longer the Guardians, this is like the faith aspect we just want to understand. Poe is now understanding that even though he doesn't want this, but he needs this.
He needs to do it.
Boom.
It ends. The final scene. Leia and Han are finally ready for a retirement, and they're saying their goodbyes or something. And it's just them walking away. And Han goes, "I've got a good feeling about this." Instead of band.
Yeah, I'm feeling.
Boom,
yeah,
faded.
boom, done. Oh, I love that. I really like that because they always say I've got a bad. Oh, I love that.
And that's why Star Wars 9, you could do the Skywalker Legacy or the Chosen One's Legacy.
I like that. Yeah,
because Anakin, when you said when we decided to bring Anakin back and like convinced him, I'm like, this is perfect.
This is
perfect.
This is it. Yeah, I love it too because it does seem a little shoehorn that Finn is the leader of the temple. We can work on that.
Yeah, but
I'm just trying to think of something. I don't know. I just want someone who has experienced all of this to take back this lesson because the lesson truly is like if you stay to your morals, nothing will give, and they both stayed to their morals. Nothing gave. They exploded. Yeah. Now we have this understanding where truly the Sith line is ended. The ramifications of Palpatine is gone. We need to grow from this. We need to understand from this. Luke inherently knew what he was doing. He was on the right path. Mm-hmm. The situation caused him to pass away. Mm-hmm. That happens. And he recognized that. But at the same time, too, he taught enough around him where his legacy will continue on. That's why I like the legacy aspect, too, because now it's still Luke's legacy going through. And I think the Grey Jedi will then prevail out. Yeah. Because eventually you will always have conflict. The second you have dark, you have light, you have conflict. Grey is inherently no conflict.
Yeah, and while the Skywalker legacy will continue on, the Skywalker line is finished as well.
Yep.
Correct.
Since Han and Leia are too old to have any more kids and Ben's gone.
Yeah.
So.
And of course there's more kids and stuff like that, but we could work that in. It's not a big deal. But you're right. I like the fact that because like when she was like, "Oh, I'm Rey Skywalker," it's like, okay, well, the Rise of Skywalker, like, what does this mean? And then, because they're doing exactly what we're doing, which is they're gearing up for her to be the temple owner, everything like that. Totally appreciate it. Hey, I think that's a good idea. Hopefully they can go on to it. But I really like where this is at.
Yeah.
I'm ready to put a bow on it.
I'm very pleased.
I think this worked out real well.
This is like, I will show generations this. This is like my legacy. This is not the Skywalker. This is the Mosang Zoki legacy. You know what I mean?
So this was recorded and released way before the episodes 10, 11, and 12. So if there's anything that Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau take and put in those movies,
Oh, we said it first.
Yeah,
clearly.
Clearly.
You're right.
Now, also, if they want us to help write it,
we're available.
We are available.
You can reach out to us on Twitter and X. But no, I think this is great. I think we're perfect. So, Mark, that's really our time.
I think so.
Dude, Sean, we totally appreciate it. I knew when we had 3 Titans in here talking about Star Wars, it's going to be nice. This is better than I could even expected.
Thank you guys for having me on. To your point, I could do this all day.
Oh, and we will. We will. So,
yeah, so with that, thanks everyone, as always, for listening. Please reach out to us with questions, mix-ups, and what-if ideas. And really, we want to hear your thoughts on our version of the sequel trilogy.
Yes, it would make more than anything. I want to see those paragraphs in the YouTube comments being like, oh, I really like what you did, or I really didn't like it. Or even more so like, hey, you guys touched on this, and it kind of went under the rug. We would love to explain this out. There's probably so much more we could do with this. Yeah. So I think feedback for this episode would be absolutely fantastic. And with all episodes, we totally welcome it.
Absolutely.
Right? Positive, negative, everything's good. We'd love to hear what you have because we're really trying to build up a community of just people talking exactly like us. That's all we're trying to do. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we totally appreciate it. And if you're asking yourself, man, how can I reach out? Especially Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, right? We have Instagram and X at the Live Laugh Lore Pod. Or you can also email us at livelaughlorepod@gmail.com. That's livelaughlorepod, POD, @gmail.com.
Thanks, guys.